than the Eagles on yet. So this will be the God, I'm already coughing. I've had a cough for like literally a month.
Same. I think we have like super COVID, which we've somehow spread despite never being in the same state together. Like...
Yes. No, I agree. Yeah. My girlfriend and I have been talking about it, and we're like, there's a new COVID variant, and they just don't tell us, and none of the home tests can catch it because I've tested myself like 3 times.
Yeah. I have nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
But I've been sick for like a week now, so it's awesome.
I'm not even joking. I've been coughing since I started doing the podcast full time, and this is the 3rd or 4th week. Like, it is crazy. Okay, so we have no one in here, so no pressure at all. If people come in. But
so I'm gonna cycle back to the joke that got cut from the thing. So anyway, so it's Obama and Bill Simmons, and
let's add the premise here.
Put it on the live pod.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is only to the Patreon subscribers, so I can always edit.
I want to offend them. So.
Yeah. So unless Underdog is now subscribed to the Patreon, which I don't think they are, so we can let it fly in here and then
let's
go from there. So
Bucks is such a scammer, by the way.
Why? What is he doing?
He told me I was going to be able to smoke weed with Colin Cowherd.
What?
That's what I was promised. I was promised smoking blunts with Colin Cowherd new.
Okay, hold on. I need to understand this. What is the background here?
He was, you know how he has like insider brain?
Yes.
Like he likes to do the leaks.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you told him about the Underdog stuff.
Yeah.
In advance.
Yeah, I told him.
He was going and being like, gotta play it close to the vest. I know insider Trill information, and everyone was guessing. And I was just like, oh yeah, you're gonna be in the herd. You're get the FS1 deal. You're gonna be in the herd.
Yeah, me and Colin Cowherd, just chopping it up. One of my favorites, Colin Cowherd, only for his political opinions. Earlier on Twitter, he said I lean a little. I would say that I lean left. Which is funny because this is a man who has said on record that the 2 best presidents of all time are Ronald Reagan and Barack Obama.
That's very that lines up so much though.
Oh
it's so good. It's so good. Man who leans left loves Ronald Reagan.
I mean, it does make sense because people who say they lean left are just entirely vibes based.
100%.
Yeah, those are the last 2 times there was like kind of I don't know.
A cool front facing president.
Exactly.
Especially if you were a white guy and is now 50s or 60s. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, it fits perfectly for Cowherd. Yeah. I respect the art of the take from him, but certainly not the best opinions on the world in general.
You have to respect him for being one of the last California Republicans in sports media.
It's true. Yeah.
Usually, most of them by now have gone all the way over to the deep end. He's the only one still doing like Mitt Romney bits.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Well, he's also literally a California Republican, meaning he wants the Republic of California to rise again from the ashes of the Civil War II that we've got coming here in the next 10 years.
He's for the separation movement, just like just the coast.
The Newsom Imperium.
He's still enough of an elite that he's like, I don't want anyone in Central California getting the same healthcare as me.
No, he'll be the Larry Summers in the Newsom Imperium for like his cabinet. So it's just Cowherd, the token Republican. The when they do their what did Obama call it? The League of Rivals or whatever the
fuck.
The idea that you like need to have Republicans, just the most West Wing bird brain bullshit.
The dumbest thing you could imagine.
Yeah, awesome.
But I mean, that's literally the opposite of the reason why you should be in politics. Like, you should be
you should call the enemy demons. No, that's what Trump gets. Trump gets you. Well, they might be pedophiles. Who knows? Have I had them all killed? I don't know. Are they all holograms? Thank you, Q. And they want me to denounce you, but I won't. Folks. I'm not going to do it.
I mean, look, you can
ping pong.
If
he's talking about it,
except for Kyrie Irving.
Yes. Oh God. Well, yeah, you can get away. You can get away with being anti-Semitic in New York, I guess.
Wait, what? No, I feel like
I'm joking.
I was like, excuse me, last place you could get away with it. Yeah, I lived in New York. Saying, Absolutely not.
That's the joke.
That's the bit. Yes. Okay. All right. We can get into it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the You Know Ball podcast. And today is once again a very somber day here at the You Know Ball podcast. Unfortunately, our big boy, Mr. James Harden, has suffered an injury. So before we get into our player haters ball, the overrated NBA draft that we will be doing later in the episode, we have to talk about Harden getting injured, what it means for the Sixers, and where do they go from here. So we have Parm here. Parm, what's going on? How you feeling, bud?
I'm feeling delightful. This is not a real injury. It's fake.
Oh, it's fake.
It's manufactured by mainstream Daryl Morey media. It's a strain. It's not real.
Oh, strain.
Harden. We're gonna tank for the prescribed 4 weeks. Doc Rivers, see ya. He can coach the Pacers. Get the fuck out of here. Shake Milton gonna score 24 points a game for 5 games in a row. People are gonna be like, "Wow, is Shake Milton a real guy?"
He's back.
Everyone knows he's not, but other people will buy in. And then you attach him to Tobias's $40 million deal.
Yeah,
and that's how we get LeBron James.
Let's go. All right, I love it. All right, I'm in. I'm back in, actually. Yeah, you've said that.
He's borrowing injury faking technology from the Oklahoma City Thunder, given that they're all kind of in the same executive tree.
We are less than 2 minutes into the actual podcast, and Sam has already slipped in some Sam Presti, his fellow Sam Presti slander at the top. But
he will be in Gitmo before the end of the year. Mark my words. We're closing Guantanamo Bay except for Sam Presti. It will be a Magneto jail for people who take Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from us, like a bubble. Can't do anything in there. What are you going to do? Tank your picks in there? Loser? Nerd? Get a real haircut. Dork? Freak? God.
Oh, good way to start. But
can I draft? I want to draft Sam Presti, by the way.
Yeah, both over. Okay, yeah. No, I'll allow it. I'll allow him. He can be your assistant GM for the overrated player draft. How about that? Yeah,
sounds good.
We'll get him on the line. But so back to the Harden stuff, because Parm, you did bring up a good point in your very serious rant there for a little bit.
Thank you.
Which is that Doc Rivers, I am wondering, because a lot of people are talking about this on Twitter now. Some people are saying Doc Rivers is more protected because of this, because he has a built-in excuse if the team does poorly. And I kind of feel the opposite. I kind of agree with what you were saying. And it's not... Part of it is because I want it to happen. And then another part of it is because I still think that unless Joel Embiid is also actually sick or the foot injury is a real thing, and they don't have either of these guys, the team still won a good amount of games last year with a similar core. Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Seth Curry put in De'Anthony Melton, who... Look, Seth Curry's obviously a better offensive player, but I think from a two-way perspective, Melton's the more impactful, better player. Tobias, maybe he can get back to a little bit of, being more of an on-ball guy, which is not always had the best results. But I think that right now they still need to stay above water. I think they need to stay in that 500 range while Harden's out. And it's going to be tough. Their upcoming schedule is really hard. This is not a good time. Tim Bontemps tweeted and said they have the Knicks, which, I mean, whatever. They should still beat the Knicks even without Harden if Embiid plays. But who knows if Embiid's playing? That's tomorrow. They have the Suns. They have the Hawks twice. He included the Jazz, but I'm not good. I don't think that's real. The Jazz, the Bucks, the Wolves, the Nets. And then they have an Atlanta, Cleveland, Memphis stretch at the end of this month. So in this next month, the Sixers need to stay above water. They need to kind of stay in that play-in range while Harden is out. And if they don't, I still think that Doc, if they're 6-10 in 2 weeks, I think that, or however many games it takes, I think Doc is gone. I don't see a world in which they're hanging on to Doc and he can't do the things that Doc has always done, which is keep the team afloat when the start. I've joked before, Doc does a better coaching job with lesser talent, it feels like. If he can't do that, then I would be really surprised. Like, I think that they still need to win games.
Absolutely.
I would say this, though. I would say that what I would expect to happen, even though Embiid has looked, as we covered last time, very bad, this is more of a natural role for Joel Embiid, covering up a shorthanded team without a clear, surefire talent. And Tyrese Maxey, now without Harden, will get to be Tyrese Maxey. So I honestly, I don't think this is – I think this is a little bit to the team's detriment, but I do not think it will show up in wins and losses very much. I think that they're still going to win a lot of games. And I just think it's going to kind of hurt them overall as they try to build their way towards a more cohesive unit that will win in the playoffs. Because I think they need those reps with a good coach, which I guess you can't. It kind of defeats the purpose.
It's the end goal here.
Right. I mean, if this is a vehicle to firing Doc, great. But I just don't think they're going to get the requisite political cover to fire Doc, because I don't think this is going to change the Sixers' fortunes that much, to be honest. I think because a lot of what you've been frustrated, and I agree with, Trill, is that Maxey only gets like 10 minutes a game to be himself.
Sure.
Now that's his full playing time. Now it's 36. So it's going to be a slight step back. I don't think it's going to be that noticeable. I don't think it's going to turn into wins and losses. I would bet rather than being 6-10, they're probably, more like, how many games is 16? Probably more like, I don't know, 10-6, in that amount of time.
Well, right now they're 4-5 overall, which already is like trending in. And look, Embiid has missed 3 games. They went 2-1 in those games. He didn't look like himself before that. I do agree that I think that in the wins and losses category, it might not affect it as much. I think that there are some silver linings here for sure. I think the main silver lining is Melton will get a lot more adjusted to playing with the starters. He will start in James Harden's position, I would imagine. And as Celtics Matt brought up in the group DM, the one thing is that this will allow the Sixers to play defensively, probably more. Like Thibault will get more minutes now. Melton will get more minutes now. And those are the kind of guys that in a drop coverage scheme tend to work a little bit better with Joel Embiid defensively. Harden, as good as he fits offensively with Embiid with the pick and roll, defensively, they're still not all that compatible. And especially when Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris are flanking you, you're going to have a lot of issues for sure. I think that this will improve, which is funny, actually, weirdly enough, to start the season, the team is better defensively when Harden is on the court. Now, some of that is just way too few games to really take much from shooting stuff. But the offense has actually been, they have like over a 120 offensive rating when James Harden is not on the court this season, which I think could be beneficial because they're going to figure out how to play without James Harden. And in the playoffs, they're going to need at least probably 10 minutes a game to figure out what lineups work the best when Harden sits, how they can survive the non-Harden minutes. So you can look at it positively like that for sure. But at the same time, he wasn't the Harden from the first 3 games that looked absolutely incredible, but he's still a steady hand. He's your main offensive guy. And now it's going to have to shift back to that Embiid thing. And like, if Embiid isn't in shape, like this could go off the rails pretty quickly is my whole point.
Yes, but I also think that another part of this is that losing James Harden just makes the team more conventional, I think is the bottom line here.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't need to get creative. You don't need to do anything. And I think that's to Doc Rivers' benefit. I think that the way he builds rotations and the way he puts guys in the rotation is pretty conventional, for better or worse. That's Doc Rivers, and that's why he's had so many talented guys and got fired from so many talented officers, because he's not the imaginative Eric Spoelstra style play inventor, that he is. So I think that
he's a normie. Doc is a normie.
He's a normie coach. But just think about how much better how much more sense and less like heliocentric and weird subbing in like De'Anthony Melton for James Harden makes that Sixers starting lineup.
Yeah.
Everything makes so much more sense. And everything is going to make so much more sense on the back line too. So I just think that this is going – honestly, the Sixers might even look better, and we might have another – just did with Joel, we might just have another cycle of are the Sixers better without James Harden? And it's like, well, maybe technically in the regular season, but again, we talk about this all the time. There's a huge difference between winning in the regular season, fake, not real, bullshit, dog shit, doesn't matter, and winning in the playoffs. And like,
and James Harden is a playoff superstar. So,
all right, well, I did kind of dog walk myself into that one.
No, but I think what you're saying is that there's some truth to that. Like, look, even when Harden was struggling last year, what he was doing for the offense at certain points was something the Sixers have never had before. The end of the Miami Heat game when he basically saved it at home, hitting all those step back threes, getting guys in the right positions. Like the Sixers, regardless of him looking like shit in the last two games, have really never had that type of player before. And I think they need that type of player that will just be like a steady hand late in playoff games, regardless of whether Harden is shooting 2 for 11 from the field or whatever it is. But kind of going back to what we were talking about before, like I do think that the Melton thing, I think it's going to be good for the team in the long term. In the short term, I think it might end up hurting them a little bit more in the wins and losses column. Look, you know me, I've always loved Shake Milton. He's just looked fucking awful to start the year. He was not good at the end of last year. Honestly, he really hasn't been good for like 2 seasons consistently.
Well, it's Shake Milton. He's either the worst, most atrocious player you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
Or he's giving you 35 points.
Yep. I know, I'm aware of that.
That's just a total random like coin flip of what guy you're getting.
Yeah, and the thing is that regardless of whatever version you get of him, it's very similar to the Montrezl Harrell situation where Doc loves Shake. Oh, yeah. And because he scored 38 points on him one time a few years ago, he is, and also in Shake's defense, he bailed Doc out in the Hawks series in game 2. He bailed Doc out in the playoffs at certain points last year, coming in and being kind of a lightning bolt off the bench. I understand that. But at the same time, we know when Doc loves his guys, and 2 of his guys are now in the rotation. Montrez looked fucking awful yesterday. Like I've actually kind of come around to the idea of, based on your matchup, you can play Paul Reed or Montrez. Montrez looks awful. Paul Reed comes in yesterday. The Sixers go on a 9-0 run. And he gets pulled from the game a few minutes later when they have like a little bit of a slump. He was a +4 in like a few minutes he played yesterday. And he looked pretty good to start. He had some errors like he always does. And the team ends up losing the game, and Montrez was terrible yesterday. And like, my fear isn't that Shake isn't going to be consistent, because I know he's not going to be consistent. My fear is that the coach is going to play him no matter how badly he plays, just like he does with Montrez. And the only thing is like, what is your other option here? Like Furkan Korkmaz, I guess. Like, you don't even have an Isaiah Joe to throw in there for some shooting or whatever. It's basically either Furkan or Shake with those backup bench minutes. And like, I'd almost rather roll the dice on the fact that maybe Furkan can get back to where he was a year or 2 ago, and just hope that he can provide a little bit more of a spark, because like the inconsistencies and the amount of minutes that Shake's going to play through his struggles really concerns me. And like, I hope he can bounce back, because I love Shake, but it's just going to be tough over these next few weeks. Yeah. So, Sam, if you want to bring up your trade machine war crime, you can bring it up so I can yell at you for it.
I just, something in one of my Celtics sicko chats that was brought up, and you said that this was also carried over and posted to the Discord. Would make a lot of sense for the Celtics and the Sixers to explore a Peyton Pritchard for Paul Reed swap.
I'm going to throw up.
You guys need a hooper. This man has been hooping at a high level. He has done it in the playoffs. What has Paul Reed done in the playoffs? Nothing. We're practically.
Hey, the Raptor. He was good in the Raptor series.
The fact that I'm even deigning to put Peyton Pritchard on the table is just a show of my how magnanimous I'm being.
Well, my question for you is, how are you going to replace Peyton Pritchard's 5.7 minutes a game in the 3 games he's played so far this year?
We'll have to find a way.
Isn't Sam Hauser still on the team?
Yeah, no, Sam
there you
Hauser's
go.
been great. Sam Hauser's been great. He's been like he only plays like very weird rotations. Like Missoula will only play him for like these weird like 2-minute stretches like in the middle of like the quarters. But he's been like lights out, like really high gravity, like white guy shooter, and has survived on defense.
So that's why you guys don't need Peyton Pritchard anymore. You have your new white guy shooter.
As essentially
he's taller.
Yes. It is taller. Yes, yeah, exactly.
So I would not do that trade. Although at this point I'm okay with trading Paul Reed because it's very obvious that Doc will never play him anyway. So it's like, to me, it's like you might as well get something back. Like I would probably be trying to see if there's a team out there that would be willing to give you a wing that you could play off of the bench, even if it's like a
Peyton Pritchard.
Is that Kelly Oubre's music?
I knew you were going to say someone that I hated.
That's Tsunami Poppy?
No, not Kelly Oubre. Not one of the few players I don't want.
I would trade Tobias Harris for Kelly Oubre straight up today. I would press that button right now. No question.
Man, here's the thing.
For the cap relief.
Yeah. I would do it for the cap. I would just do it to get off the Tobias contract. Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. From a player-for-player standpoint, Oubre's kind of like wing Shake Milton in that he can have games where he's the best player on the court and he can have games where he's the worst player on the court. But I think just and even though I hate Kelly Oubre and I despise watching him play basketball, I think that just having an athletic wing that can play off of the bench, and if you could lean into starting De'Anthony Melton at the 3, like I literally think De'Anthony Melton should be a 3. He's an undersized 3 for sure, but like in certain matchups, you're gonna have that be exploited. But like I actually think Melton is like the 4th best player on the team, and I think that he should be playing starters minutes. 100%. And if that allows you to do that, and Kelly Oubre is your athletic wing off the bench, I would do it. I don't think Kelly Oubre is good, and I'll probably select him at some point in our overrated player draft. But that's really just because he's hot that he's overrated. But
it's just that like I can't keep watching this guy give like the least valuable 18 points.
It's crazy.
I've ever seen in my life. It's like it's turbo Julius Randle.
Yeah,
it's like out of this world.
Yeah,
it's saying something that the Warriors, who are currently playing James Wiseman so many minutes that it's like literally ruining their season, and they saw Kelly Oubre and were like, no,
I think he's talking about Tobias Harris.
Yeah, I'm talking about Tobias. It's a standstill. Yeah. No, Kelly Oubre is also gonna do the same.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
but he's gonna be hot when he does it.
He can just at least he moves.
You know why that trade would never happen?
Addicted to the half court.
You know why that trade would never happen? Because, well, one, I would be a little bit worried about trading for a guy who, when you already have Montrezl Harrell from the Charlotte Hornets, I don't think we should be trying to acquire any more guys that were on that Charlotte Hornets team. Seems like every guy from that team has something going on. Like maybe we should just stay away from that. Yeah,
Terry Rozier innocent.
Yeah, free Terry. But
don't ask why whenever he is on Snapchat, he refuses to use C's. It's only K's. It's interesting.
It's just a thing. It's a weird thing.
Don't look into that, please.
Don't look into the background there.
Yeah.
But it's funny because Harrison Grimm posted today, and he posted that Tobias has been one of the best catch and shoot players in the league this year. And I was like, I literally could have. I watch every single game, every single minute of every single game, and I was floored to learn that. Like I forget that Tobias is on the team sometimes because he's his when his role is to reduce to being Jay Crowder. It's like he's invisible. Like it's really like I've always thought that like other than the season where I legitimately think Tobias should have made the All-Star team over Ben, which was when they were the 1 seed in 21. I think that Tobias has always been a slightly impactful player, like maybe a barely positive impactful player. And now it's just like he's a net neutral, if not a net negative.
Mhm.
And I literally think if you traded Tobias, okay, maybe when Harden's out or Embiid's out, that's not the case. But when those two are playing, you could replace him with no one, and the team would be the same, if not better. Like it has gotten to that point, which really sucks because it's like it sucks because he's getting $40 million worth of cap space.
Yeah,
but no, I tend to agree with that. Two last things on the James Harden stuff. I keep seeing people say this, and I understand this, that people are saying Harden should have been playing so many minutes. He should have been load managed. He's played every game. He's played like 37 minutes a game. And I get that. I understand that. I definitely do. I can't get mad at Doc Rivers and the team when we all know James Harden's not going to listen to them. Like,
no, he's going to show up.
Harden plays if Harden is playing, look at his career numbers. He plays 37 minutes a game, and I agree that it is the team's job to protect the players, and I agree that the coaches in the front office should be stepping in some circumstances to make sure when he's coming off a soft tissue injury like the hamstring to kind of get back into it or whatever. But at the same time, this is a guy who has, when he's unhappy, blown up the last two teams he was on. I don't really think you want to be pushing things. Like Joel Embiid has talked about how he wants to play through injuries. They're like, guys are just like, most guys aren't Kawhi and LeBron and guys that like are thinking about like the longevity of their careers and thinking like, they're like, I'm healthy enough. I want to play. Like it's a hard situation to get into. And I really can't even be mad at anyone. Like, it just kind of is what it is, even if I think that Harden should be playing less minutes.
Yeah, and he's been Iron Man, the entirety of his career until last year, 2 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
I'm just like, what do you really do with that?
It's not like James Harden's the pinnacle of a guy who is known to be very good to his body.
Yeah, exactly.
He shows up on a half an hour sleep, just like hammered, and then gives you 45.
Yeah, he's Ubering from the strip club, whereas LeBron is like sleeping in a cryogenic chamber.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and like he's like
sleeping in the tank that Vegeta's in Dragon Ball Z. Like, he's invented that technology
in real life. All right, so before we officially move on from all of the Harden stuff, which my prediction is I think the team struggles without him. I think they figure out their way. I think they probably end up going like around 500, maybe a little bit less in this stretch. I still think that they need to be like actually good for Doc to keep his job. But I don't know, maybe the front office and the ownership is just like, we're not paying him that contract. We're already paying the luxury tax. Like, you just got to figure it out. So we'll see.
What's the Sixers? What's the Sixers record right now?
They're 4-5.
4-5. Okay, and a month from now is December 2nd. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 games between now and then. I bet the Sixers go 10-5. I bet they win a lot of games and are actually better, and that we get a James Harden. We get the inverted Joel Embiid.
We get Bill.
You get the Bill as James Harden Ewing theory also.
Oh well, he'll make it about Joel Embiid wanting his own team again. Is what he'll make it about. Oh, now he doesn't have to watch Harden over dribble and do all this. So he wants his own team. He's going to get traded to another team. He's going to make them trade Harden. Someone brought up to me, actually DM'd me on Twitter. Shout out to Molly Hot Takes from Twitter. She DM'd me and was like, do you know? Okay, so last year, after one of the games in the Heat series, Joel was interviewed in a press conference and they were talking about awards. And he was basically saying that he thinks certain media members have like a vendetta against him, which I don't think they do. But I also think, like, don't complain about awards. It's a bad look. Like, who cares? But I also think that what he said in that press conference was, why does Bill Simmons get to vote on things when he's saying fuck Jalen Green on his own podcast? And ever since then, Bill's tone has shifted a little bit when he talks about Embiid. And I do think that there's at least a little bit of a dynamic there. So shout out to Molly, who's making us stay woke.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, Bill is like one of the most petty media members.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like absolutely, there is a 0% chance that he did not change how he felt about Embiid hearing that.
100%.
Like,
Yeah.
there's no way. Anyway, I believe the Sixers will be 14-10 in
I'm going to go 7-8 in those 15 games. I think that they're going to be like 2 games below 500 by the end of this run. And I think they'll be in that play-in range. And I think by the time Harden gets back, then they'll end up like going on a winning streak or something.
I believe Lauri Markkanen's going to score 57 points on the corpse of Joel Embiid. And then Mark Cuban is going to get fined for tampering by trying to trade him.
Actually, the Flying Fins League, baby. We're all just living in it.
That's right. Yeah, Danny Ainge has unearthed the gem once again. A white one in Utah, in the mountains of Utah. But one more thing I'll throw in here, and Sam has some expertise on this as well as a Celtics fan. Mm-hmm. Did you see my gross post that was Mike Chiodo's?
I almost drove my car, and you don't want you remember the tweet about you don't want to be out here with like Sonia and Del Curry, like when they were getting divorced, and there was that whole thread about you don't want to be out here, like don't get to you don't want the Kemba Walker experience, especially after Nick Nurse destroyed him in the All-Star game by playing him 30 minutes. It's Nick Nurse's fault, by the way. I'm going down with that shit. Nick Nurse owes Kemba Walker an apology for ruining his career.
Yeah, he's a terrorist. We agree.
Yes. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
Biological terrorist, Nick. I've called him a basketball fascist before, and it's not a bit anymore.
No.
Nick Nurse is the worst.
He's a monster.
But yeah. I also have no. I don't want them to sign Kemba. That was a joke from me. I'm just like I'm like his knee is probably cooked. I said a year ago he was cooked, and then he dropped like 30 points on the Sixers. It was actually really funny. But then for the rest of the season, like his defense is just not where like he's unplayable defensively. And you want to give Doc Kemba Walker and Montrezl Harrell on the roster come playoff time? Come on. You thought it was bad before. Watch him play Niang, Montrez, Kemba, like no.
You guys should sign, just go sign someone like David Nwaba or something. Like, I think he's a free agent. Like, what? Why not? I've always liked him. Like,
sure,
good. Serviceable.
I would rather sign Ben McLemore than sign Kemba. Just because it's like at least you can have a guy who can shoot and like try to play defense. Like, there's more of upside there. Like, the Sixers aren't the team that signs wash guy and then they're not wash for like half a season. Like, they don't get Nicholas Batum. They don't get even Blake Griffin like 10 capable games in his Nets career. Like, they don't get anyone who is in that realm of player ever. So I'm good on doing that. That's just my personal opinion on that. Hey, what's going on, guys? I am very excited to announce that we have partnered with Underdog Fantasy, the newest and best place to play fantasy sports and win big prizes. So if you have not already, please sign up using the promo code SLOP or use the link that is in the description below. For Underdog, signing up, you'll get a $100 deposit match when you use that promo code or that link. Plus, it helps out the show. It helps out me, and we'll keep this thing going. We have a lot of opportunities coming up with Underdog besides just the great stuff that they offer every night. They have draft contests. You can draft a team, and you can win up to $10,000 if your team scores the most points, or you could do their pick 'em with the higher or lower on player stats. And with this recent James Harden injury, Tyrese Maxey, would imagine you're going to be wanting to hit higher on his points a lot, especially when Joel Embiid is out. So you can check that out as well. You can win real money, up to 20 times your money on any given night. Also, we have some other things that we're doing. I mentioned the live stream that we're doing on Playback upcoming. So we're going to do some fantasy drafts around the NBA for that night, and then we'll follow it along throughout the night on there, and we'll see who ends up winning. So that's going to be only for the You Know Ball Patreon, and we're going to be doing it moving forward as well. We also have a lot of upcoming things with them in terms of giveaways, bonus credits, all that kind of stuff. So please, if you have not already, check it out. Sign up for Underdog today, and you will support me, you will support the podcast, and we can all have some fun with it. But actually, before we get into the overrated draft, I do just want to say me and Parm will be on playback starting next week, next Thursday, 1 week from today when we're recording this, when the Tyrese Maxey Sixers, at least, will be playing the, knock on wood there, will be playing the Atlanta Hawks, and you guys can literally watch the game with us. That's the cool thing about playback. We're going to be streaming on there. You can watch the game and we're commentating in the corner. We're like up in the corner saying, like, it's just like our regular streams, but you're actually watching the game with us. All you have to do is log in with your Google account and then your cable or streaming provider and join us. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Eli Manning could be there.
It's possible.
It's possible he could be, and his brother, maybe not.
No,
you have to find out though. You have to see.
No, we don't have Peyton Manning on. He's canceled.
You might be able to get. I mean, how much does Dunkin' Donuts pay Eli? You know,
we can
like
get
underdog dollars.
You can definitely get Brett Favre. Especially if you have access to like
Favre. No,
I for 80x Florence Brett Favre.
This ad has gone off the rails.
Okay, never mind.
No, you're good. You're good.
But we'll invite Danny LaRue and Nate Duncan. We'll see if
yeah. It's just like their league. We actually, that's the cool thing about playback is you could actually if you have League Pass, you can bounce around from team to team as well throughout. So there are a lot of cool things we're going to do on there. If you have hot takes, if you've ever wanted to be on a stream and you're not going to get us canceled, you can we can pull you up on stage. You can talk. You can put your face on the camera if you want to do that, and then we can go from there. By the way, I don't know how else to plug this, but we don't get paid if we don't get 25 people in there. So we would like to get paid. So please join so that we get paid money to do this. So
also, please don't get me fired from my job.
Yes, we're not going to get Parm fired. We're not going to get canceled. We're just going to have fun and talk about the Sixers and the NBA and be normal and regular like we always are.
Right. You guys now see why I'm not going to be. Yes, this is protecting everyone here. Gotta keep we're keeping risk down. This is a risk-free endeavor. All right?
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
Yes.
Okay. So we are now moving into the overrated draft, which is an idea from Reed Wallach that he had last week when he came on the podcast. And I loved it because I love the opportunity to be a hater. And we're going to draft guys based on their public perception. So that in my estimation, it is going to be guys who I believe are underrated by different groups of people or overrated by different groups of people. So we're talking media, the Zach Lowe's, the Bill Simmons, the big names, players that are overrated by them. We're talking calculator boys who, actually, no, this player's really good if you look at his on-off and his impact metrics. We're talking real hoopers. We're talking the ball don't stops. We're talking everyone who overrates certain players based on the aesthetic of their game. And then we're just talking about people in general. How people, like if you went up to a random person on the street and you asked the opinion of a player, that's mine. I'm trying to take from a few different people, and then I'll give my explanation when I make my selection. We're going to do 3 different teams here. I will have a team. Parm will have a team. Sam will have a team. Parm will go first. Sam will go second. It will be a snake draft. I'll have back-to-back picks, then back to Sam, and then Parm. So we're going to do 10 picks each, and we're going to pick our most overrated players in the NBA. So, Parm, do you want to kick us off by your number 1 overall selection on the clock?
So my first overall pick is going to be the 12th player on the ESPN Top 100.
I know who it is.
You may know him as a Finals MVP. You may know him as the Claw. I know him as the most arthritic, washed forward, perhaps in the entire National Basketball Association.
Oh, no!
It is atrocious.
I love this.
12
I
points
love this
and
start.
6 rebounds.
This is hating on another level.
God awful. Everyone was telling me this team was good. They're dog shit. He is washed. Right again. I've never been wrong once in my entire life.
Wow, a shocker up top, folks. I actually did not think.
Did you actually say the name? I think we all know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, wow. Okay. Kawhi Leonard is the number 1 overall pick in the.
Keep that team in mind. Keep that team in mind.
Can I say something?
There.
Yes,
he was also on my list.
I will say,
he was also on my list. Great
I had him on my list, but only for this reason.
Yeah.
We're going based on public perception of who the player is, not people who are studying the NBA, being sickos, watching every single game, following what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think everything into account, most people would probably consider Kawhi Leonard a top 5 player in the NBA.
And he was good the last time his quad tendon was connected to the rest of his leg.
Yes.
But not going to happen.
So, and Parm is doing a little victory lap because I was high on the Clippers. Parm was like this team.
The whole landscape. Everyone was. Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's a lot of Kevin Durant, because like Kevin Durant is the one athlete in the history of organized sports who does not have to possess an Achilles tendon to continue to be good at his sport.
It's true. That was a miracle comeback.
That doesn't work for anyone else.
And I do wonder if we've seen the last. I mean, it might be the end of All-Star Kawhi. We're talking about like if he continues with barely playing games, he already made way less All-Star teams and All-NBA and all that stuff because of injuries in the past that he should have. He's only made the All-Star team like 5 or 6 times, I think. Like he's not like some 10-time All-Star. Like he really could end up his resume on the whole. Once again, this is not an all-time thing. On the whole, Kawhi as an all-time player is an incredible player. But for this moment right now, I mean, I think public perception would say that he's still one of the top guys. And I don't even know if we're ever going to see an all-star version of him again. And for that reason, I think he has to be included.
I still think he maybe be a positive player, especially if he slots up to the 4 now.
Yeah.
That he's a little more cooked, because he's still an incredibly smart defender, incredibly good rebounder,
good shooter.
But I don't think he's guarding Jason Tatum competently ever again.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a possibility.
That's sad. Very sad to hear and think. And a very depressing start to our overrated player draft. I don't know why I thought it was going to be happy, but here we are. All right, Sam. You're on the clock. Sam is on the clock.
Do I do it?
I have a few names that I think the 2 guys that I've been thinking are going to shock a lot of people, and they make me physically ill to choose them, actually.
Wow. Boy, I thought it would come to me kind of in the moment. Like I have an assortment, a sort of a poo-poo platter, if you will, of guys that I am looking at. I'll start safe, and this is a bummer, and this isn't going to surprise anyone, but I'll take Klay Thompson.
Yes.
Yep. On my
Clay's
list.
a good one.
Again, this one I'm not gleeful about at all. It's kind of a huge bummer. This is a huge reason why I've been down on the Warriors, and a huge reason why I think the Warriors have been cooked thus far early on in the season. So I don't know if there's a lot to say. I mean, he just hasn't been good. I don't think public perception has really caught up with it. I think the nerds are on top of it, but I think by and large,
the nerds have always said Klay Thompson is a little overrated. To be fair. Like the calculator boys always say that. My whole thing with Klay, like this version of Klay is obviously very different than prime Klay. This version of Klay is even different than just before the injury Klay. And my whole thing with Klay is like the reason why I don't think I don't think he's one of the 75 best players of all time. That was an absurd argument. No. But I do think that he might have gotten too much shit when he was in his prime. Well, yes, he was in a perfect situation for his game, but at the same time, there's no other player that has Klay Thompson's skill set that had like a star level impact in NBA history. Like, who?
Kevin Durant. But outside of that,
but Kevin Durant can create. That's different. Klay Thompson can't create.
But I'm just saying in terms of like not taking anything off of the table. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's Klay Thompson's like defining characteristic is he does not hurt you in any way, shape, or form.
He's one of the best off-ball players of all time.
Yeah,
right.
He's a good on-ball defender, like a really good on-ball defender at his peak. Like was guarding some of the best players in the league. And I think that skill set is in like everyone loves to trash him. But then anytime you describe a player that a team needs, it's always exactly Klay Thompson.
100%.
It's like, oh, we just need a guy who can guard the best player on the other team and also not eat possessions on the ball and create a ton of shots off the ball. Like, it's literally super JJ Redick, basically, or a super Kyle Korver or whatever. And that for that reason, I think that Klay is a very good player historically. Not an elite great player, but very perfect in his role and what he did for those Warriors teams. This version of Klay is a very far cry from that. Even last year in the playoffs, that version of Klay is a very
Here's
far
something
cry.
that I find interesting, though, is all the armchair GMs are always trying to trade Klay from the Warriors currently, which, Sam, I assume you're a Boston sports all the way around.
Yes.
Well, you believe in superstition. You believe in curses, if you will.
Yes, I do.
And sports teams' curses.
Yes.
The Warriors are 100% going to be cursed the moment they trade any one of those three guys. They'll never win for another 75 years if they trade any of them.
Absolutely.
It's just extraordinarily bad curse generating material that you don't want to put out into the world.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the reason I think this start is so bad for them, because I think they kind of signed Jordan Poole with the idea of trading him, but he's kind of turned into a pumpkin. I mean, there's a lot of time left, but he has had a very rough start.
Yeah,
and
he's been bad.
He like if this is who he is now, I think that was not in their plans. I think they're supposed to flip him, keep Klay, and fill whatever holes. Let Moody grow into that role, have Klay, take back a chunk of his minutes, and they're in a little bit of trouble right now because
I have to say I don't want to see Jordan Poole or any young player look like shit. And I don't think Jordan Poole. I think he's much better than how he's played to start the year. But I have to say I love hearing my favorite podcast, the Low Post, Zach Lowe, and everyone discussing the Warriors front office and all the young players and all these and everyone finally admitting that the Warriors and the smartest Warriors fans who listen to this podcast and they tweet at me and they know that they're all fucking Steph merchants. And this is just another example of the Warriors front office getting credit for Steph Curry's achievements.
Yes,
and
exactly.
It's like these are, and look, I hope Kuminga and Wiseman, they can all figure it out. But like, I'm sorry, the players that they drafted those guys ahead of are way better. LaMelo Ball, like fucking
Franz Wagner,
the next pick. Like these are guys that were in the consideration. I'm not even going to count the guys that went later, like Maxey
still
and whatever.
Don't,
but like
to this day, I don't know what they were thinking because, like, even if Wiseman showed out and was a good player, and they didn't hide him in the G League for 3 years, what about the Warriors makes them think that they can draft and develop a center?
Yeah,
the best center they've produced is fucking Zaza Pachulia.
No, Kevin Looney.
What are you like? You had Andrew Bogut, like that's your claim to fame for the five.
Well, and Looney was like a forward in college too.
Yeah,
like he was not a center. Like he's kind of turned into that because that's what they needed him to do, and that's because he was a multi-utility guy. Like he could do a lot of stuff in college.
But once again. This has to do with the Warriors' brain trust thinking that they're the reason that they're amazing.
Yes.
They thought it was a multi-level chess move to draft this guy instead of LaMelo, who at the time was pretty much the consensus number one overall guy, and really only fell because his dad is annoying. Like I don't really like it makes no fucking sense. And also on top of that, it has everything to do with the fact that like they were preparing, like they can act like they wanted to win now, but they were preparing for the future with that pick more than they were preparing to win right now. And they're showing their ass right now with like, and as whoever said on the podcast today, Tim McMahon, I think it was on Low Post, he's like, if Kuminga is not that guy, we already know Wiseman is not that guy. Like I've said before, like I think he's a backup center. Like I think that if he could become a backup center, that's a win for them at this point. And they're paying him 11 million or 12 million or whatever it is next year, plus the luxury tax that it's going to cost from the repeater tax. And like, you better hope Kuminga figures it out, because otherwise, like, I've always liked Moody. I know I've said that many times. I think he's going to end up being very good for where he went, especially with the 14th pick. But like, you need Poole to be amazing on that contract. You need Moody and Kuminga to hit. Like I'm not saying that the Warriors young guys are all cooked, but I'm glad that we're starting to realize that like they're not like these super brain geniuses that have everything figured out. A large majority of it is they have a generational offensive talent and a generational defensive talent, one of which they drafted, and I give them a lot of credit for. But they're bastards. I give them more credit for the Wiggins trade more than anything else.
Them to have to know that the Kings drafting Marvin Bagley III was a better team decision for them than any Warriors draft pick that they've made.
That's not true, because they passed on Luka. Like that, like as much as I love LaMelo, he's not Luka.
They at least got production out of the guy that they drafted before a superstar. They got one season of that guy giving you 12 points. James Wiseman is he even averaging over 10 right now?
I think his counting stats are good, but his impact metrics are absolutely miserable. I watch him. He can't play defense.
There, I think he was like at like 10, maybe on the nose, 10.1, shooting less than. I think it was like less than 45% from the field as a 5.
Yeah, he's not good. I'm not going to argue he's good, but I think I watch him and his defense. Like he got cooked by DeAndre Jordan recently in a game.
Yeah,
I was like, that is tough.
That's time to go play in the Philippines. That's you're cooked. You're done.
There are 444 players with a registered plus minus in the NBA right now. James Wiseman is 433rd with negative 57. Jordan Poole is 441st with negative 75. Do you want to guess who the 438th member of plus minus is? He's the lowest on his team.
Kuminga?
No, it is Kevin Durant.
Oh yeah, Kevin Durant still
Ben
very low.
Simmons. Yes,
I know.
13 points behind Ben Simmons.
And with the
That's
third
a little
pick,
staggering.
In the third pick in the overrated draft.
I'm
not willing to go there yet.
When I was doing, I thought about it. I was like, well, if my 10th pick, if I've got to go spicy, but
after the interview where he was like, oh, it's hard to score and like have 5 guys guarding you at once.
Yeah,
you can't do that.
And it's like,
you're KD,
bro. You're last in plus minus. Like that doesn't happen to good players. Like,
okay,
even Joel Embiid is -9. Jason Tatum is also -9. It's just something to think
But plus
about.
minus can be a complicated stat, and
right,
and as long as and that's such a small sample of games, like
it is.
And I'm about to be a complete hypocrite with my next 2 picks, by the way, as saying that. Okay. I just want to keep that in mind. My next pick is, in my opinion, the greatest player of all time.
Yep, on my list as well. Win a fucking game.
The number 3 pick in the overrated player draft is LeBron James. And here's why. Here's why.
I like it.
I think that he might be one of the only players where you actually have to take off the court stuff into consideration, because he helped. And Kevin Durant too. I would say KD and LeBron are probably the 2 guys the most that have a hand in what their team does.
Yes.
And part of that is understanding what works best with you. And LeBron's team is bad for a few reasons. Now, look, if you took LeBron and you put him on the Warriors, would he be great? I'm sure he would be. I'm sure he would be back to like the best version of LeBron you can get at this age. Possible, for sure. But in the circumstance that he's currently in, that he created, he has been a much less impactful player. He's shooting like shit to start the year. I'm sure the shooting will bounce back, and maybe they can make a trade and make them better. But like, if I'm going based on public perception, the media's perception, everyone's perception on LeBron James is that he is still a top 5 player. And I don't think he's a top 10 player.
I was a little surprised when we were talking about all NBA stuff and people were just kind of grandfathering him into that conversation last year. Like, I don't know. Really like there's a lot of good players now.
Prime LeBron could carry a team in a way. Even 2 years ago, LeBron could carry a team in a way that I don't think that he's even capable of anymore. Like I think that his best role would be to be playing with other stars that can help lift him up as well. And I think that if we're going based on this GOAT perception, this top 5 player still, this amazingly impactful. Now, if you get down to a playoff series and he's in a perfect situation, then yeah, there might not be many players that I would take over LeBron. But for right now, with the rising tide of the new young guys, with a bunch of guys in their prime, I'm going with LeBron as my third pick. And I think that we've seen the best of LeBron, and I think that this is a new version of him where unless the shooting comes back to get to like a really good level, like I just don't see, like, I don't think we're going to see another LeBron championship. I don't think we're going to see another LeBron like first team all NBA or even second team. Like I think he's going to be in that conversation for like third team fringe guy, like lower end all-star impact kind of. And that's why he is my third pick. So I'm going with LeBron there. And this next one might get me canceled on my own podcast. Look at the best players in the NBA. Look at all of the best players in the NBA. Look at the top 15, whoever it is. And I love Joel Embiid to death. I do.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I love Joel Embiid to death.
So much for not making me do this.
And here's why. Here's why. I love Joel Embiid to death. I think in the regular season, Joel Embiid is a top 3 to 5 impact player in terms of when he is Joel Embiid, especially from the last 2 seasons, has been an amazingly impactful player. But in the modern NBA, it's harder to build around a big. We have learned this. Even the most impactful bigs, unless you are Giannis, who could basically be a wing and a big at the same time and play multiple positions and have an easy scheme built around you on offense and defense, it's a little bit harder now. And I hope that this ages like milk, and I hope that Embiid can come back and be in shape and look like his normal self and in the playoffs get to a conference finals and do all that. But like, if they don't do that with this team or in the next year or two, like, I really think, like, how can I put him in the top 5 players, top 3 players in the NBA when he hasn't made it to a conference finals? Like every other player on this list is going to make it to a conference finals. Some, like Luka, was the only guy on that Mavs team last year that that team, like he carried that team. Like even Trae Young had no other all-stars on his team and beat Joel Embiid's team in the playoffs. Not all of this was Joel Embiid's fault. I'm not saying it was. The Raptor series is not his fault. The Hawks series is not his fault. There were a lot of determining factors, but at a certain point, the best players, the 5 best players in the NBA, can carry their team to a conference finals at least one time. And some of it might be injuries and all that shit. But I'm just like, I have to pick Embiid here, which is fucking crazy to me because I love Joel, but I'm just being honest.
This is so disgusting. I cannot believe that you are using our honored draft to plant a reverse curse. This is.
Let's go.
You have such an agenda with this. This is revolting to me. I cannot believe you were compromised our beautiful draft just for the sake of pulling the Sixers out of the mud with a reverse curse.
Let's go.
I would not even do this with Jason Tatum. Did I think about it? Maybe.
Because Jason Tatum can score on a fucking fast break one time a game.
Well, that's just
all I'm
Jason
asking.
Tatum can run more than 10 minutes without getting winded. So this is not really fair.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is not.
Okay, so
nice.
Joel Embiid will be my pick. I have my team is now LeBron James and Joel Embiid. My team's gonna be really fucking good.
I was gonna say, I feel like, well, now I feel like
you have to take a bold one.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I took two bold ones.
I feel like I have to crack into my because I have a lot that are like very, going after calculator rats or going after like real hoopers, and
I have a few of those too.
Yeah,
but these are the guys that everyone thinks are good. That's why I picked them up.
Okay, yeah, and I think that's. So maybe I need to go.
And they are good, by the way.
Okay. So maybe I have to go a little bit more bold here. I'll just do it. So why does everyone think Bam Adebayo is good again?
Thank you.
Why
Thank
is
you
Bam
so much.
Adebayo in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation every year when it is clearly a Miami Heat defense that just has rats? They just go rat mode and like are just scrapping at every time. It doesn't matter. He has completely disappeared in a couple of series. He was great in one playoff series, the Celtics series in the bubble, which we have established on this podcast is not real. It's a figment of our imagination. It was a simulation. This is what is Bam Adebayo bringing to the table? And like everyone wants to point at Kyle Lowry, and Jimmy Butler's a hardo, there's no question, but at least Jimmy Butler is good. What is Bam Adebayo? There's a reason Pat Riley is trying to give his players an eating disorder because like they're playing below their thing. I don't think Bam Adebayo is always like, I'm always a little shocked by how quickly Bam Adebayo gets put in these very lofty conversations because he's an okay passer. He's okay at a lot of things and a solid to good defender. I do not think
he's a very good defender.
He's good PR Ben Simmons. That's it.
I
have more than 15 points a game. Try that.
Yeah. He's averaging 17 points a game and averaged 19 last year, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't think if you switch him out of an Eric Spoelstra team and just put him on like, I don't know, like let's say the Hawks or something like that. I don't think
that's like the one team I feel like he would be amazing on because
this is what I'm saying. I don't think so. Like I think everyone thinks, oh wow, you have Bam to come in and shore up the defense. I don't think that shit happens. I really don't. Like I think he's overrated. I think he's an incredibly overrated defender. I think he's empty calorie scorer. I do not think he puts point. Honestly, I think Rob Williams is a better creator than him. Like people talk about Bam's passing. I think Rob Williams is a much better passer. Like now, Rob Williams can't stay on the court, which is the problem with Rob Williams and why Bam is a better player. But I just don't. He is always floating around the 30. Like wherever someone puts Jaylen Brown on the list, maybe he'll make an appearance on one of your guys' things. Yeah, Bam is close by, and I just don't. Because everyone should have Jaylen Brown for his defense, and I get it. Like you had that boneheaded play against the Cavs last night. Like there's stuff there. I think Bam Adebayo skates a lot of times for not showing up, being a zero. Andrew Wigginsing, to be honest. Like Andrew Wiggins a lot of games, and people don't like. And I'm talking old Andrew Wiggins, Wolves Andrew Wiggins, not Warriors Andrew Wiggins. So that's my spicy one.
So that is a spicy one, but I do want to say I don't think you're going to get a lot of pushback because I think a lot of people that follow this podcast think that Bam is overrated. Now, two things. One, my take has been that Bam is new age Rudy Gobert, which I think maybe not as impactful defensively from the calculator rats, but in a maybe he's a little bit more playable in the playoffs because he can switch and whatever. But it is very much that like, oh, we love his defense. He doesn't do a lot on offense, but he's very good at the things that he does. Look at these little things he does, but he's very reminiscent of him in that regard. Yeah. In my opinion, I've always kind of thought that of Bam.
He's not a good screener, by the way, either.
Yeah, I mean,
like really not. He's like he gets called for like illegal screens quite a bit, like or at least in the games that I've watched, and he doesn't get his guys good separation. I don't know. I really don't think even that screen assist calculator rat bullshit that Rudy Gobert gets. I really don't think Bam Adebayo is that like.
So also,
he's a good player, but he is not. He is not a top 30 NBA guy.
I don't think he's like what you said. Like, I don't think he's the anchor of a defense. I think he can be a very good, important, maybe even the best defensive player on the court for a good defense. But I think that defensive infrastructure, when he's playing with Jimmy Butler and PJ Tucker and guys that are good on the ball and off the ball as defenders, can make him look a little bit better impact metric wise, can make him look a little bit better just in general. Like, I think there's a reason why you can't play piss poor defenders with Bam Adebayo in the same way that you can with certain other players. I think that the Miami Heat thrive on their defense. I'm not sure if I would put him necessarily. I mean, look, I don't disagree that I think he is overrated. I think that where he settles in the league is probably right around where I would put him, maybe a little lower. But I guess the one argument that Bam purists would have would be that he is, I guess, scalable, but like I don't really think his offense is that scalable. I think his defense is scalable, but I don't think his offense is. So I don't hate that pick, actually.
Yeah, he's top 5 center, like cheering for being like close at a top 10.
Yes.
Way closer to 10 than he is to 5.
Well, who would you have other than Embiid and Jokic? Like, because I don't consider Giannis a center. I don't. I just think he's a wing. And
I'm getting ahead of the
slander,
the hatred and slander for my
what's coming.
Karl-Anthony Towns and his 4-4 team.
Let's go.
And his very fraudulent co-star, who also is not good at basketball, sadly.
All right, Parm, you are on the clock, by the way.
Neither of those are going to be my overrated pick because I have too much pride, and I said they'd win the Western Conference Finals. So it's going to be just a guy.
I thought you were going to say Justice Winslow.
No, it's going to be just a guy. Just a guy. Used to be a star. Now he's just a guy. It's Jamal Murray, ladies and gentlemen.
I had him on my list.
I did have him on my list.
You're worse than Colin Sexton, my guy. You should be ashamed of yourself. You're
okay. Hold on.
This is pretty early to dance on.
Hold on. I was gonna say. Hold on.
I'm
coming off
ready.
the torn
I
ACL.
already have the shovel and the bulldozer out. It's over. It's over. This man.
I'm so glad this is behind the Patreon wall.
Yeah. Oh man.
We do have some Nuggets fans who listen to the podcast that might be a little bit furious. So, okay, Jamal Murray.
You just tell them. Well, okay. Michael Porter Jr. didn't make the list, and they're like, okay, Michael Porter Jr. didn't make the list. Good.
Oh, well, Michael Porter, who's overrating Michael Porter Jr.? He doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
He's play enough. Yeah.
You know? Am I going to overrate Jokic? I mean, like.
There are arguments to be made for Jokic.
Yeah.
But there are also arguments to be made that he has so many haters that like he has a lot of haters. So I think that he's pretty properly rated.
Yeah. For a similar I guess set of circumstances as Kawhi, like the league just has passed by you while you were injured.
Jamal Murray. Yeah, so that's the thing. He's only played 6 games to start the season, and he's only played 26 minutes a game in those games. It is unfortunate because he is coming off a torn ACL, and it seems like torn ACL injuries aren't as bad as they used to be in terms of recovery, which kind of worries me a little bit from... What's that, Sam?
I would just get to point out that of our selections we made, this is the 6th one. This is the 3rd guy we're talking about who's had an ACL injury.
Yes, that's true. Clay... Oh, yeah, Clay, Kawhi, and Jamal Murray. Yeah.
So, maybe that's not so true, like that the ACL injuries aren't a big deal. Like, I don't know. Tough.
Yeah. I mean, it did seem, maybe I'm thinking football more so than basketball, but like, it does seem like, look, I think there was an argument to be made that Jamal Murray was overrated before the injury. I do think that there was an argument. I think that because he never made an all-star team, because he never had these accolades that a lot of other guys, but like at the same time, the conversation before his injury was, and this might just be due to like his development got stunted due to the injury, not his fault at all. But this is the overrated player hater draft. So this is what we're doing.
And that will roll into my second, which is basically the same guy, overrated guard.
Wait, do you get to pick again?
Guy. Yeah, he does.
Oh,
yeah,
it's exactly. Right. Yeah, sorry.
That's Zach LaVine.
Oh, I had him on my list.
I had him on my list too.
Yep.
I was going to say, the conversation not that long ago was Zach LaVine, Jamal Murray, Donovan Mitchell, and Devin Booker. And 2 of those guys have had injuries, and it's kind of thrown them off. And the 2 guys that didn't get injured, Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell, are like pretty much surefire all NBA guys this year to start.
Absolutely.
So,
and now I could probably put Devin Booker on here because like I don't love that the archetype of the 6'5" flamethrowing shooting guard who doesn't really do a lot else. But Devin Booker is at least the best of those 2 guys.
I would argue that other than Steph, Devin Booker's the best off-ball scorer in the NBA, and that's why I think that you need to give him... I think that the idea of what Devin Booker is in the same class as Luka Doncic and Jason Tatum and all that is a little bit misguided, but I think overall he's still a top 10, top 12 player in the NBA.
I think he resoundingly clears the likes of Zach LaVine or a Brad Beal.
Yeah, I was wrong about that, by the way. I thought LaVine was going to end up being better than him. I was very wrong about that. I got to take the L on that. So, so you have Zach LaVine here. So LaVine has like these knee injuries, man. They just seem like they, especially for athletic guys, like they just sap all of it from them. Like it sucks to see. But his stats have fallen off. I don't think Beal or LaVine are going to be all-stars again. Like I think that it's done unless they go to a good team and they're part of, like, if they get traded to the Heat or the Sixers or the Celtics or one of these teams that's really good in the Eastern Conference, I just don't see a way that they're going to end up being like all-star level guys again. Like it's just the East is too deep, it's too talented. And so that's
that might also not be entire. I might not be entirely being fair to Zach LaVine because it's not like the rest of the Bulls are helping him out in any measurable way.
Yes,
with like Lonzo being out, Nikola Vucevic being the 773rd best center in the world, Patrick Williams not existing, but
DeMar DeRozan being a bad fit, even though he's a good player, and like probably
DeMar DeRozan being a future Sixer, because we need to add another bona fide playoff performer to this team.
Let's go. The greatest fraudulent playoff trio of all time, and Maxey.
3 of the most cursed players in NBA history and put them all on one team.
Honestly, as Russillo always says, you're bound to have a good run eventually. You can't always be this bad in the playoffs. So. But Zach LaVine is spicy. I like it. Sam, you are now on the clock. There are 2 guys I'm shocked that have not gone so far, and they're both. I will get an opportunity to draft them. So.
This is probably one of them. I'm sitting on my one that's going to make everyone mad. So, I'm just going to save that for the end. This one I think is not very controversial to people who pay attention, but it would be very controversial to like normie NBA people. And that's Anthony Davis, who is
that was one of the 2.
He is done. It's over. It's been over. Some might say it never started, and that his shooting in the bubble was ridiculous in the first place and inflated his value. And Lakers merchants like Zach Lowe, who disgustingly tried to hold up that the bubble was real because he's Miami Heat state apparatchik, is
ESPN's 20th best player this year.
Absurd. I'm just nobody anyway.
So wait, hold on. I'm to believe that the Lakers have the 6th best player and the 20th best player, and they're dog shit.
Yeah, they're going to win 10 games.
So Russell Westbrook is the 780th best player, despite being because the way they talk about it.
Trade Russ so that we can expose these frauds for who they actually are.
Free Russ, man. It's because they need to know, like. They only won the game because of Matt Ryan last night. So,
Disgusting.
Boston's beautiful boy. I don't even know if he's from Boston, but with a name like
Matt Ryan. Yeah. And Matt Ryan, the quarterback, went to Boston College, but he's from Philly, actually.
Right.
So, Anthony Davis, I mean, this one, I think it kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah, we don't even really need to go into it.
Do you think Anthony Davis will make another All-Star game in his career?
Probably. Just on reputation alone. Yeah. Like voters, Lakers voters.
Yeah, that's true.
Andrew Wiggins was an all-star starter last year.
Are they going to have enough zeal to get 2 all-stars?
But I mean, it might not be this year, but he will. When LeBron retires, they're definitely all going to vote for him.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Is he going to be a Laker by the time LeBron retires?
Yeah, where else
we'll
is
see.
He gonna go?
I don't think they're going to trade him because I just don't think his trade values.
Because I think that I believe the Lakers All-Star bump's real. I just think it's going to end up being like Justice Winslow.
I hope so. Justice, no pun intended, for our guy.
Lonnie Walker. It's going to be one of those guys.
Walker.
Matt
Ryan.
They'll get someone. They'll get someone, and everyone will get mad. They'll get like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and it'll be pretty good for them. And then we'll be like, they still won 25 games. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
All right. So you took Anthony Davis there, which means I have back-to-back picks, and I do not get to pick Anthony Davis. but I will get to pick a player who is currently in the news for some very bad things, and we've discussed them.
So it's Josh Primo.
Yeah.
In this.
Miles Bridges.
No. Oh, yeah.
Fuck all of them.
Yeah, fuck those guys.
I'm going to take Kyrie Irving. And I think that there is an argument that both of the last two picks in Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving are not only currently overrated, but historically overrated as well. We're talking about two players, one in Anthony Davis who made the All NBA 75, which is wild to me. I don't think he should have made it. I'll put it like this. I understand that he was the second best player on a championship team, but LeBron was still close to being LeBron. LeBron literally was LeBron with Kyrie. And I think what Kyrie did in 2016, no one can take that away from him. He was amazing, whatever. Mm-hmm. But since then, all we've gotten are playoff flameouts, blowing teams up, barely playing games because of injury or because of vision quests or because of whatever he wants to fucking do. Mm-hmm. This is another guy that you have to take the off the court stuff into consideration because of how much it affects the teams that he plays for. And also on the court, he's never been a 1A. He's never been the guy. And Anthony Davis, you could say the same thing. Like, he won one playoff series as the guy. Mm-hmm. Kyrie's never won a playoff series as the guy, I believe. He won one.
Pacers
series with the Celtics.
With the Celtics. And you could even make the argument that Jason Tatum, like Jason Tatum was up and coming at that point and was becoming more established. So, yeah.
And it was also the bubble. Mm-hmm. Keep in mind, right? Yeah, he never.
Wait, no, the Pacers series. No, that was the year.
No, that was the year before.
It was the Bucks series.
Correct.
Lost. Yes. They swept the Pacers.
Right. Which the Pacers, that's what they love to do, is get swept.
Yeah, exactly. Get swept in the first round.
Yep. So I can't imagine getting swept by the Celtics in the first round. I would kill myself.
Yeah.
Terrible. So I have Kyrie on here. Amazingly talented player who I don't think is quite as good as his reputation ever was. Like, I don't think that Kyrie was ever, like, you would think based on how people talk that Kyrie was like a surefire top 5 guy at one point.
Well, part of this is how players think about him.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of it is how players think about him, because I think Kyrie is, quite frankly, a lot friendlier to players because there is a real camaraderie there. Like, A, B, Kyrie can do things that other players can't do, and players really respect that. When you can, because Kyrie is such a talented finisher and can do things that literally no one else in the league can do. So players like really respect that. I think that's why Rudy Gobert is not respected. I think that's why Giannis is not really respected, because these guys are doing things with like brute force and physicality that players just don't really respect. They respect craft and they respect the doing that. So I think
why they love DeMar.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, it gets back to the Hooper thing. Like, this is like the literal origin of the Hoopers versus calculator rats thing. Like, as those are the two different things that you're talking about. And Kyrie is the ultimate Hooper player. So like, does that manifest in winning? No, but it's also about like, what do you want out of basketball? Like,
the aesthetics.
Do you value aesthetic? Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I understand that.
You though, I gotta say, to get the LeBron haters and the LeBron stans both to be absolutely at your throat.
Let's go. My team is going to win a championship. I got Kyrie, LeBron, Embiid. If any of them can ever get along and stay on the court, they're going to be very, very good. I mean, I'm building a championship overrated team over here. I'm telling you that much. Okay. So before we move on, did you guys catch the Kyrie quote, the Oxford Dictionary? I read the Oxford. I know what I'm talking about.
It's a drill tweet, straight up, like they just absolute like nonsense. Like it's amazing. Like, it's literally, you think I made? It's like literally that I've read 10,000 articles. Like, somehow even like more ridiculous than that,
less self-aware.
I think that's like literally a sight gag in Dodgeball. Is that like the bad guy? I forget his name that Ben Stiller plays. He's like reading the dictionary. Over. Like, and the joke is that like nobody would ever actually say they were reading the dictionary as a way to convey intellectual.
Yeah. I thought he was doing a bit, but it seemed like he was being very genuine. Yeah. So yeah.
I mean,
so I had to bring that up. What an amazing
word of the day: obsequious.
Obsequious. It is obsequious.
I know the word of the day.
I mean, it would be very funny if Kyrie all of a sudden revealed that he was like, he had like taken Hannibal's spot on the Eric Andre show and had just been doing all of this as like sort of this new comedy, like extended comedy bit. Like that would be amazing.
Yeah,
it really does seem like an Eric Andre like style like skit a lot of the time. So
100%.
They should link. They should link and build. Absolutely.
Eric Andre, who is Jewish, which should definitely not link. Should not link and build with Kyrie.
They probably would not want to link and build with Kyrie.
Yeah. On second thought, he's probably saying Kyrie's very bad. Yeah.
Well, unless he's I mean, he and Sacha Baron Cohen have like coincided, and that's a huge part of the Sacha Baron Cohen comedy is kind of
the self-aware. Exactly. Yeah. It's true. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, it's certainly there's many layers to their comedy for sure.
I will not hold my breath that Kyrie is doing a decade-long bit. I will not be holding my breath.
He's been doing a bit since he was at Duke.
Oh God.
Okay, so you know what? I have a list here, and there are some guys that I really want to take, and there are some guys I'm surprised haven't been taken.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just gonna do another spicy one because it's fun to do spicy ones.
Mm-hmm.
There were two guys coming into this season that during the podcast that we did where we talked about the Bill Simmons trade value list, we said there were two guys on there that we thought were pretty overrated by Bill and them. The one guy I think has proven at least to start the season that is not the case. And Sam might make the argument that he is later. I'll leave Sam to do that. The other guy, I think, so far, based on the reputation and what people think this guy's going to be as a player, where he's going, I'm going to go with Anthony Edwards. Because
I thought about it.
I think Anthony Edwards is going to be awesome. I think he's going to make a lot of all-star teams in his career, maybe some all-NBA teams.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the perception of him is that he is like going to be, and this is something that I might have gotten a little bit guilty of. Like I think at some point
I was going to cop to this. If I got to pick Anthony Edwards, I was going to cop too. I bought into this.
I bought into it last year.
Yes,
I did.
Yes, I did.
Yep.
Yes.
I was like future top 10 player, guy who's going to make multiple all NBA teams. And look, I'm trying not to go full boomer here and say like, oh, he didn't come in shape, but like he's 22 years old. Like he's still young enough that he can figure things out and he can maybe get back on that path. But like, I just think that if we're saying he's the surefire best player from his draft, if he's going to be like this future Hall of Fame level talent, that you can't just come into here. He has a no dunks this season, which was the thing that came out earlier yesterday when people were talking about it. He's looked not himself. I think the defense is more theoretical than actual. I think that the shooting is streaky at best. I think that as a self-creator, he can be very good, but it comes and goes. The decision making isn't amazing. I'm going to go with Anthony Edwards here.
Many are saying,
yes,
higher skill floor Cam Reddish? Question mark.
No.
Wow. Hoodwinks you into believing that he's a star, but he's not completely
he's
unplayable
way
like
better.
Cam.
Yeah, I was going to say he's way better.
Unplayable, but he has suffers the same affliction of convincing watchers that you're watching
more like if Karis LeVert were actually good.
Yeah,
if Karis LeVert were actually good, or like maybe like if you just want to go on like a bare bones basic ass comparison, probably his career probably ends up like a slightly better version of Zach LaVine than the number one guy on a championship level good like we expected him to be. And look, he's still so young that maybe he figures it out. But for now, I'm going to go with Anthony Edwards here, and that will be my pick. And now Sam is back on the clock. So
now do I start kind of getting into role playery guys?
Like, you can if you want. I have a few other guys that people would consider stars. But I'm going with the guys who I just think are the most collectively overrated still.
Okay, let me just take a peek at my list here. I guess I should have been thinking about this before. You know what? I'm gonna do it.
You're gonna get us mad, and I think I know who you're gonna take.
I'm gonna do it. Well, no, I'm just this is going to be. I'm switching to the other side of the fence. Where if you've pissed off the Hoopers, I'm going at the calculator rats.
Let's go.
Home base. And I think it's a sign of respect that we waited this long to bring up Cade Cunningham.
Let's go.
So he is again, honestly, maybe even by and large by the NBA community, but by the definition of this exercise, probably might not hit the criteria because I think a lot of normie NBA fans are like, who's Cade Cunningham? Oh, that guy's like, okay.
True.
Like the calculator rat fanaticism to the cult of Cade is like, it's particularly grating to people who like pay attention and talk about hoops a lot, like because it's like you just can't have a normal conversation about Cade.
That's always been our thing.
Yeah. I'm not saying Cade is bad. I think we've said on the podcast, I think Cade will make an all-star team at some point, maybe a couple of them. I
think he's going to make the all-star team as early as like this year or next year.
Really?
Just based on counting stats, number 1 overall pick clout, and the fact that, but like the fact that we
have
like
to be not as absolutely atrocious as they have been, but he's doing what, like 23, 7 and 7 right
he's
now?
averaging 21.7 on 44% from the field on 6 and 6.
We talk about like the pedestrian nature of like just like of what Cade's stuff is, like we're talking about like because like a lot of people, for most players, this would be like, wow, this is a really promising young player. He can defend. He's excellent from mid-range, and blah, blah, blah. Other people see the shot charts and it's just ice cold blue around the rim and 3-point line.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, this is the greatest player in the world. Cut that. And I just watched Evan Mobley taking a giant shit on a championship caliber team in the Celtics. And I think that's what's driving people insane.
Yeah.
Is that Cade was a good pick, probably the wrong pick. Because
to be fair, I know the Warriors aren't the same to start the season, but Cade did just have an amazing game against the Warriors like 3 nights ago.
I think he is a good, solid player. I think there's a lot of good, solid players in the league. That is the main thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, the hyperbole about Cade is that he is going to be excellent, and it's like, no, like I don't think that. Like he's got to be better than like. God, I always fuck up his name. DeJounte Murray. Like,
yes, love it.
He has to be better than that caliber of guy, which he probably will have a better overall career than DeJounte Murray. But
I think he's going to make like 4 or 5 All-Star games. Like I think he'll be in that.
But this is what I'm saying. Like right now, and there's going to be guys like that cycling through all the time. Is Cade better than Jaylen Brown? Jaylen Brown is going to qualify as a guard probably. Like, and Jaylen Brown doesn't always make the All-Star team. Like I think people think about All-Star teams and like forget that like you've got to be better than Bradley Beal. Like, and Bradley Beal, we're shitting on him, but like Cade has not been better than Bradley Beal. Like I like maybe on defense, like to the calculator rat. So I just think that everybody in the calculator rat community needs to relax, chill out, and just he's normal. He is normal.
He's very regular. Very, very regular.
He's a regular guy. You don't have to talk about how he's this much better than Zion and one of the greatest prospects of all time. He's not that. I'm sorry. He's good. He is not great. We've got to chill out, relax. So that is a artisanal pick because he is not. This is one specifically for a community. But
okay, all right. So, I mean, we've talked about Cade plenty on the podcast. Yeah. I think he started off the year much better than I expected. I think that he once again is going to make some All-Star teams. I think he'll be very good. I don't think he's a top 5 player, MVP candidate. That's always been my thing. I agree. So, Parm.
So
back to back.
I'm going same after both calculator people and draft Twitter people. You gotta know better than to take a highly touted 7-foot tall Australian point guard who can't shoot.
Let's go.
Josh Giddey is not good.
What? He's not Yes.
Let's go.
Dude stinks. Dude's booty. Like, I don't know.
Go.
You should have known better. Every red flag that I just mentioned should have just flashed off, knowing that you're getting exactly the same guy but worse than Ben Simmons.
So you're telling me that his 7-point 3 for 12 game didn't impress you the other night?
No.
He was coming back from injury, to be fair.
No.
I'm with you, though. I think that Josh Giddey is massively overrated.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy that poor Franz Wagner has to be lumped in with him.
He wasn't even on the list that Giddey was on coming into this year for best players in the NBA on 2 different ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2 different projected lists for this season.
Be mentioned in the same conversation.
Franz is way better and does a lot of similar things that you want Josh Giddey to do, but with better defense, better shooting. Like, I don't know what I'm really missing with Josh Giddey, but I don't see it. And I like some of OKC's
Tell me
why.
I would love someone to explain to me why Jalen Johnson on the Hawks is a worse player than him. The only difference to me is that one plays on a dog shit team where you can get 40 minutes a night, and the other one has to play in College Park, Georgia, because his team has too many good players on it.
He's low-key spitting, folks. I'm sorry. He's low-key. The Cade thing is like, I still think Cade's going to be really good and have a really good career. Giddey, I don't see it. Is not a brilliant passer, but how many times do we see the passing stuff? Like, it doesn't matter if you can't shoot. It doesn't matter if you can't create an elite level, finish around the rim, all of these things. And also, I don't think his defense is going to be anything special either. So I'm just like, I'm not a Giddey guy. I'm not Giddey pilled, as they would say. So I'm with you on that. So Josh Giddey, and then you have another pick, Parm.
Yeah, my next one is solely the only person I'm targeting with this one is Craigery, Nihilist Bucks Smith. Chris Middleton is as good as Tobias Harris, aka does nothing for your team. You haven't fucking lost yet. How good could he be?
Let's go. Let's go.
I knew Sam was going to love this.
While missing him. What kind of do the stats matter? Is Jordan Nwora that much worse? Jury's out. They haven't lost a game yet.
They do have the best player in the NBA.
I love
That's true, but
no.
You know how important is he as a second
player? I think the regular season versus playoff thing is a very
absolutely,
big thing.
Absolutely. I'm just taking the opportunity. Because there's another guy that I would love to do, but only NB is the only person that I've ever seen him be overrated in the last 5 years. I was told by him that Yusuf Nurkic clears Karl Anthony Towns, and Yusuf Nurkic does he work for the nation of Bosnia? Like, I don't know where he comes up with this shit. Like, this guy hasn't been good in fucking since his 5x5 4 years ago.
I don't agree with that. Nurkic is not nearly the player they got.
Like, he's been a Mendoza line center for so long. It's just that he makes like $11 million a year,
right? Yeah,
I'm with my opportunity for Chris Middleton because of that, in spite.
Well, I agree with you because I think if Chris Middleton were healthy, the Celtics would have won in 5 instead of 7. So this is, and I think we're going to find this out. Like, Bucks fans think that this is going to be different, but no, too many cooks spoil the soup. Like you let Giannis cook in the playoffs, and I think we're going to see. You know, we're going to see. They're going to see them reaping their just rewards of returning a fraudulent player like Chris Middleton to the. I wish Arnovitz was still at ESPN so I could just do the Arnovitz impression of
and just tweet it and just tweet it at him. Yeah,
Kevin, I just Chris Middleton. I could watch this guy play for hours. There's an effervescent quality to his shooting that is. It pops off the page. Maybe it's the Atlanta boy in me, but it's a romantic sort of small town guy, does well, who has stayed with his team. And Zach, that's something that just hasn't really happened a lot
the lost art
over those things. God, I genuinely miss Arnovitz. Like, I don't know. Like,
I know
back.
He annoyed me, but now that he's gone, I'm like, oh, now we have to have more podcasts with like Tim Bontemps.
He was annoying in a very charming way.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. I was very charmed by Kevin Arnovitz. Like,
yes, I agree.
I wish he still worked for ESPN.
Yeah. Also argued less than a year ago that Chris Middleton was better than Jason Tatum, by the way.
Awesome. Amazing. Yeah. I remember that.
I remember like almost crashing my car when I heard that. And I've come around on Chris Middleton. I used to be a denier until that playoff run, and then I was like, well, I can't really deny it anymore. He was a baller. But
now I'm back. Now I'm back. I haven't watched the game and he hasn't played, and he's on my fantasy team sitting on the fucking IR doing nothing. So he's a bum and he's overrated.
Deep-seated. Amazing.
By the way, I do think there's such a thing as fraudulent playoff series, because I was the opposite on Bam. I know I just did that whole Bam tirade. Sure. I thought Bam was an incredible player. I got tricked by the bubble series because he was so good in that series.
The one thing I will say,
because he was playing Daniel Tice, because that's what I was tricked by. It was like, yes. When he has to play a replacement level center, he's good.
Exactly. Yeah. When Ryan Russillo famously said that he'd rather have Daniel Tice than Joel Embiid. Defensively, he said that. I'm sorry. It wasn't Ryan Russillo. It was Bill Simmons. He said defensively that Tice was better than Joel. Okay. Anyway.
Even for Bill.
Yeah, Jesus. I know. That was, so.
Was that Dr. Bill? Or was it?
No, it was Bill. He was, and this was right before Embiid became an MVP candidate. So, to be fair. So, anyway, your pick, Sam, you were up on the clock. You have the 14th pick.
Did Parm make two? It was Chris Middleton
and Josh Giddey.
Oh, and Josh Giddey. That's right. I forgot. I loved both of those. Both of those guys were on my short list, by the way. Josh Giddey was deep in a bag. So this one is a little different. This is a change of pace one, because this is a guy who's not anywhere, but I think him being mid and overrated, I think has a substantial hand in his team's plight right now. And I think, this is more one for the real heads and the calculator ones. But how about Norm Powell?
Norm
Powell is talked about.
Thank you.
In NBA circles.
That is a deep cut.
Thank you.
That is it's a deep cut.
6'2.5" small forward, and we're gonna pretend like that guy is a valuable asset.
Sam, do you have Basketball Reference pulled up right now?
Yes, I do.
Do you have BPM pulled up right now?
I can.
Pull up BPM seconds. Because I was shocked to learn what Norm Powell's BPM is this season. If you scroll all the way down the page.
So this is kind of this is why he's on my list, because that was where I started my digging. I started looking at things like BPM plus minus stats, and Norm Powell, yes, with a whopping league worst negative 0.4 VORP and a negative 8.7 BPM.
Yep.
A crispy.
I've never seen a BPM that low. I know that it's only 10 games, but like I've literally, like even James Wiseman when he was fucking miserable, I've never seen a BPM that low.
Well, so you have any idea what it's like to be have a PER of 5 when your usage is over 20%? He has a 24% usage and and I get that it's early, but like I think people need to remember that like when people were, talking about the Clippers, which by the way, I'm guilty of this. I thought the Clippers would be better than they would be. But a lot of reason was like, people were like, man, they got Norm Powell and Robert Covington. Nothing. This is like, their bench is short.
I was wrong on that trade, by the way. I actually think that trade ended up helping the Blazers more because of the moves that they were able to make.
Yeah.
And they basically got off those guys. They got nothing back for those guys. And like, just these Winslow's or Justice Winslow's been.
They also extracted every last ounce of value left in Robert Covington's career by murdering him during his stint in Portland.
Yeah, it's true. Making him the on-ball stopper.
An entire team's defense by himself.
Yeah.
I just don't like. I the thing is like Norm Powell. I've never heard Norm Powell get the shit other guys like him get, like the 6 men.
Yep.
Like, Tyler, I hate Tyler Hero, but unfortunately I had to scrap him because I think he's like better than defense this year. Like he really changed my mind in that Celtics game. I was like, or even like Jordan Poole, some of these other guys who get a lot of shit for like not really defending well.
But I also think Tyler Hero has too many skeptics to begin with.
Hero literally was not chosen instead of Giddey this year because I looked at Gabe Vincent's numbers because I was gonna say Gabe Vincent clears and then realized like he's played like 12 minutes all season.
Yeah,
and that was outdated comp.
And then they were all like last game when Tyler Hero got poked in the eye and had to leave. Like, so Tyler Hero unfortunately has beaten the allegations for now. But I just think Norm Powell. I'm watching that, man, and I think it's weird. Certain circles of smart NBA people have always kind of like given Norm Powell like a little bit of a clear, and I'm like, I don't know. Is he better than a replacement level player? He fills it up, but he doesn't really defend. Like I don't know. Like
the appeal. I will say this much about Norm Powell. The appeal of Norm Powell on the Clippers with the Kawhi Leonard and Paul George duo that commanded a ton of like on ball opportunities where Norm's has been one of the best catch and shoot guys in the NBA over the past few years. He's very good at attacking closeouts. He's better in that theoretical off-ball role, and now he doesn't really have the opportunity to be in it as much. And defensively, he's always been overrated as it is, and he's proved that time and time again. I mean, I'm just kind of shocked by the deep cut this early because I still have some stars that I'm picking because I just think it's.
I'm saving my last big star that I'm confident you won't pick until the very end.
So. Oh no, I know who it is, and I'm going to get very mad. So don't worry about it. Okay. So, all right. So my pick is up. I have back-to-back picks, and I'll just get both of them out of there right now. I'm going Karl Anthony Towns, who is Parm's boy.
Sag.
Sorry, I think in every big game that Towns has ever played in his career, he's not shown up. I think that defensively, he is a little bit of a liability, maybe not as bad as his reputation. He's not going to be an anchor of a defense. He might be able to be like, it's hard to make it work with him, is what I should say. Unless he's playing
anti-Semitic. That's all I'm saying. At least he's not an anti-Semite.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
He's still a positive representation of the state of New Jersey.
Also,
yeah,
he also was in the hospital, man. Like he's had like a rough time.
Oh, he's had a very hard life. I feel very bad for Karl Anthony.
Yeah,
I feel very terrible for him. But from a hater perspective on the court.
Yeah,
I don't think he's a bad guy by any means. I just think he can come off as a little corny, but I think that as it is hard to build a team with a center. The only player that I think could be the remedy, it's not Rudy Gobert. That was a terrible trade. I should have trusted my gut from the beginning with that. I was the one. A lot of people didn't think it was good. I'm not saying I'm the only one, but I remember just being like, what the fuck are they doing? I talked myself into Minnesota being a good regular season team. I don't even think that's going to be the case. I think Giannis is the guy that you could put next to Cat and it works, where he can be the roamer on defense, the rim protector, and Cat can space the floor on offense for him and be the second guy. Like that's the one instance where if he ever went to the Bucks, then I think that's the one scenario where he could be a part of a championship.
Breaking news.
What?
Woj just tweeted the Nets have suspended Kyrie Irving.
For how long, though?
Just the Nets have suspended Kyrie Irving.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be honest. I thought the news was going to be they waived him. I really did.
Yeah, I almost said that earlier in the podcast. That and who knows? Is it a Udoka suspension? Like, who knows?
Yep.
Maybe.
So suspended by the Nets. So I just want to say, when I saw Rob Perez tweet that, I was like, he was tweeting like there's going to be some news coming out. Do we think it's a rest of the season suspension, or do we think it's a?
Did he meet with Silver yet?
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Or I think he was today or something. I personally think that Kyrie Irving
you're the NBA League Office public relations head. Shouldn't you know if he met with Adam Silver today?
I'm kept out of the loop on these things. Compartmentalization, need to know basis.
He just lost his job from the Nets a few days ago, so it's it's tough. It's tough times.
The first couple days at the office, like you don't get the goss.
I'm still doing trainings.
You got to network a little bit.
Yeah, well, I just
hang up.
I've got the HR one. For some reason, they have me learning on the McDonald's modules. So right now, I'm learning how to set the timers on the little drawers that they keep the burgers in. I think that might have got mixed up. It seems like everyone in the PR office has been quitting. There's a lot of quiet quitting going on in the workplace right now. So yeah, I was gonna say earlier in the podcast, and we started talking about something else. We started riffing, but I don't think Kyrie Irving finishes the season. 5 games.
That's it. 5 games without pay. Wow, you really taught him.
5 games.
Yeah, if there's one thing Kyrie Irving hates, it's
not
being suspended without pay during the regular season. He would never. Sorry, I'm going to tweet that.
Oh my God! Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, you're good. Yeah. I do agree. Sam and I talked about this off the air, and I don't think he ends the season on the Nets. I'm surprised they didn't waive him. I thought they were going to waive him, and I thought he was just going to end up signing with the Lakers. There's no trade interest. His contract expires at the end of the year. He's such a headache.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Lakers would do the optics of trading Russell Westbrook in the picks for him. I don't even think they would do the optics of trading Russell Westbrook straight up, but I think they might try to find a trade where they could just sign Kyrie to a veteran's minimum, and then once Russ's contract expires, the Lakers are shameless. The Lakers will do this.
LeBron willing to do that to himself.
Yes,
I do. Have to answer those questions
for a chance to win a championship again. To get to
LeBron, 5. Honestly, I think LeBron will see this as a challenge. How good am I at media? Like,
how much better am I than KD?
Yes, at media. Yeah, exactly. No, seriously, I'm not even really joking that much. I think LeBron would see it as, I can reach Kyrie, I can mend these fences. I'm a media savvy. I'm a mogul. I made Space Jam 2.
That's true. He did try to have Kanye in the shop.
Right. So upset.
He did try to do that. So I rescind. Yeah, that's totally.
Yeah, I think LeBron will be in favor of it, and especially where he and Kyrie have it admittedly dicey, but they still have a relationship. Absolutely. And I think it sounds like that's kind of been put back together, since the split.
Yep. Agreed. No, I think that they're going to end up. Okay, here's the statement. Nets have suspended Kyrie Irving. Such failure to disavow anti-Semitism when given a clear opportunity to do so is deeply disturbing. It is against our values as an organization and constitute conduct detrimental to the team. Okay? So you suspended him for 5 games. It shows that you don't care. And
2 weeks, it'll all blow over.
Exactly. They're a joke.
That suspension says.
What is this organization, dude? A total fucking joke.
Which is also so asinine. Not only from this is how much that you care about anti-Semitism, 0, suspending him for 5 games, but also thinking that the New York Post isn't going to put Kyrie in a Hitler outfit with a little toothbrush mustache as soon as he comes back on the back page.
100%.
They're in the fucking labs.
They're cooking it.
They're cooking this up right now.
100%.
They've ever made.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. It might be the Daily News though, because the Post, they like right wing guys. So it might actually need to be the Daily News. That's
the only thing that the Nets have to look forward to is that Aaron Judge signs with the San Francisco Giants. That's the only thing that's gonna fucking save them is something catastrophic happening.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
What if Judge signs with the Red Sox? I think it even need to be worse. It'd have to be the Red Sox.
That would be an absolute. Yeah, that would be a nightmare. Then
especially considering that the Red Sox literally won't re-sign their own players. So.
Why are you doing this?
Yeah, exactly. Hey,
all right.
Devers, we're not bringing you back. We got to get Aaron Judge in here just to twist some weird knife.
just to spite the Yankees. I approve. Yeah. Okay, so right now we are at the 16th pick. This is a guy we've already brought up. I'm getting back to the draft. Unless there's any more Kyrie news, then yeah.
Yeah. I do not think he will finish the season with the Nets.
I agree.
I do not think the statement said that he has to make remedial measures. That will absolutely not happen because this is a thing for Kyrie Irving. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to get too much into his headspace, but I think for Kyrie in his own mind palace, this is less about the anti-Semitism and more about not admitting that he was wrong. And I think that is absolutely under zero circumstances is he going to admit that he was wrong.
Totally agree.
Which I think is actually more harmful from an anti-Semitic standpoint because you know better and you're still putting this shit out there and not like I think it's objectively worse to be totally honest.
Yeah,
so
he's. Well, I mean, like, look, I know he's a much better player, much more famous player, but like Myers Leonard's out of the league for saying a slur. And like it was fucked up and he should not be able to fucking play. Like that's fucked up. But at the same time, what Kyrie's doing, pushing this shit, is a lot more dangerous. Not willing to even admit that he was wrong, not willing to.
Myers Leonard's level of anti-Semitism is a level of anti-Semitism that you just get from logging on to a Halo 3 lobby in 2010. And that got you kicked out of the league.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
Like 9, 10, 11 levels higher.
Yeah, this is dangerous levels of anti-Semitism, dude. Like crazy. Yeah. All right. So Bradley Beal. Anyway, anyway, the anti-Semitism.
So our 10 most anti-Semitic players in the league. I'll go next.
Michael Porter. All right. Anyway. You thought you were off the hook, Nuggets fans. You're not.
No. All right. So Jonathan Isaac is my next pick.
Gordon Hayward. We're running through all of them.
Right. People don't know this about Garrett Temple, but
Garrett Temple. Don't besmirch his name. I don't even know if he's in the league anymore.
Is he on I thought he was like
I think he's the 15th man.
He's always in the league. That's actually written into the CBA that Garrett Temple needs to be on a $3 million deal with like a team that is bottom 4 in the league.
All right. So I'm taking Bradley Beal here with the 16th pick. I've said everything I need to say about Bradley Beal. I think he's a loser. I think that he is annoying. I think that I was almost throwing up in my mouth watching him high step down the court last night against the Sixers without Joel Embiid with an injured James Harden. I was viscerally mad that he was doing it, and he's not going to make an all-star team again in his career. He's probably out of that class of player. And unless he ends up on a good team, I just don't really see it with him anymore. I think that he needs the ball to be successful now because the shot has fallen off a cliff. The defense is whatever. Miss me with him trying in the first 2 weeks of the season with defense. I don't really care. So Bradley Beal is my 16th pick. He's a bozo. So I have him at 16. Although we did say Tyrese Maxey is playing like an all-star, so I have to give him credit for that. All right, 17. So we are back to Sam. Sam, you're on the board.
Okay.
We can speed it up here a little bit. We're almost at 2 hours.
I was going to say we could move our. Well, I also don't want to be held accountable for, not really picking anyone interesting. I am running out of like my top tier guys outside of the guy that I'm saving for very last.
Role players and young players are fine.
Yeah. So, I think I'll probably. Boy, shoot! I'm kind of losing track. I'll go back. I'll go here, even though it's also like not very fun. Jonathan Kuminga, or I just think
I had Kuminga on my list.
I think that it's not very fun. He's the kind of guy you don't really want to root against. Like it's not fun to see a guy like not do well, and I think it's a bummer that I was right about him. I would have loved to have seen him prove me wrong, but I just think everyone annoyed. I was right, by the way. Yeah, I was right, by the way. Yeah. That in there. It's a shame that I was so right. It's a shame I was correct. What a fucking
I know when Bill loves a young guy, unless they're a surefire superstar guy, I'm always skeptical. It's like it's always the guys that pop visually. Like Kuminga when he does something crazy, or Wiseman.
I respect him so much though.
Bill
like
or Kuminga?
who can tell Steve Kerr to pound sand at 20 years old. Like, that's such a cool guy to be.
He is
it's
so
never
young
gonna be
and
good for your NBA career, but like that's so cool.
He's also only been playing basketball for like 5 or 6 years, but I've said before, like I just think most of his upside is more theoretical than actual. Like I don't think he's a very good athlete. He's limited some ways athletically, but he's also still so young and raw that like the proclamations that people were making about him last year were a bit absurd of what he was going to be.
You have to be a little like even Giannis, who's like the epitome of a dominant physical force.
Yeah.
He is still a little crafty.
Yeah.
You have to be at least a baseline level of crafty to be in the NBA regardless.
Giannis always had a handle. Giannis always had a handle, and Giannis always saw the floor and had a good feel for the game in a way that Kuminga doesn't. And that's why I've always thought that he's going to be in that, like, his kind of role in the NBA is like, maybe he could get to like where Aaron Gordon is or something like that.
Maybe
like
right now it looks like he's going to be Derrick Jones Jr., which is really unfortunate.
A bigger version of Derrick Jones Jr. type. Yeah, I agree. So, all right. So back to Parm back-to-back picks.
Yes, indeed.
Is this
I lost. Hold on.
Is this 8 and 9 for Parm?
This one is a little I want to draw ire for this because I don't know. It maybe not totally overrated because I don't want to bet against him either. I think he's a good player. Evan Mobley. I think people give Evan Mobley a ton of credit to the point where they overstep how impactful Jarrett Allen is. Everyone just wants to like push him off to the side on how important he is for the Cavaliers as a player, and are ready to go for Mobley, who, as far as I can tell, is the second banana to Jarrett Allen on that team.
Defensively,
I don't know if he's overrated. I think it's a little bit of a hold your horses for a year or two.
That's my thing. Is I might have overrated Mobley because I still think the defense and like I think he's still too limited offensively to really make any like grand assumptions about who he will become as a player. But I feel like I said it before. I think his floor is like what Bam Adebayo is now, which is like an all-star. And I think that his upside is like, I don't think he'll ever be as good offensively as Anthony Davis, but like he'll be as dominant defensively in that as Anthony Davis at his peak. And then also if he can be adequate offensively, then he will be a very, very, very good player. So that's always been my thing with Mobley.
They put him in top 10 centers lists and stuff, and I'm like,
he's not KG, but like, yeah.
So this is very interesting for me because I was in 100% agreement with you, Parm, until literally 24 hours ago. and like, he absolutely shit on the Celtics. And was like,
he's a phenomenal prospect. It's just like, I think it's just give Jarrett a little respect. Jarrett has not gotten any respect in this league.
Let Jarrett Allen cook. So because I would agree with that too, but also like Mobley, like it really was Mobley and not like Jarrett Allen. Like Mobley was the one freeing Jarrett Allen and not the other way around, which is the way that I thought I was going to come out of that game being like, boy, the way Mobley plays is really predicated on Jarrett Allen having his back. And what I found was it was actually the other way around when I was watching the game.
I think Mobley's a bit more of a Swiss Army knife, and I think Jarrett Allen is a bit more. And I think, look, when they lost him last year, it hurt. But now that offensively he's going to be with two elite creators, like I think the Cavs could come out of the East. Like I think that. I think that
they're for real.
I think they're like a top tier contender. Like, and
they beat the Celtics twice,
and they beat them once without Garland, and the
Celtics didn't have Grant. Well, I mean, the thing is that the Celtics are low on bigs, so not having Grant in the first game hurt them, and then it's such a bad matchup if you are small, and the Celtics are small right now. I think they match up a lot better when Rob
awesome against everyone.
My next one is a course correction. I think was a player that everyone last year was like, oh, we've absolutely besmirched Andrew Wiggins. We've done immeasurable damage to his legacy and career by saying that he's not a star. So I think now we've overcorrected. Now we
we went
you know?
one way, we went the other way, and now we're back.
Underrated him for most of his
thought
career,
about this
and
too.
now we're a little high on Wiggs.
Okay, we're a little.
I think it's impossible. I think the way that NBA fandom and takes work just doesn't mesh well with the idea of Andrew Wiggins, the basketball player, who's good. He's fine.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Agreed. Okay. So back to Sam. Sam.
So this is my second to last pick, correct?
Yes. Wait.
Can't believe he's still on the table. And we did every other member of this team. Rudy Gobert, really? I get Rudy Gobert at down here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I didn't realize that. I was cooking along. I was like, boy, who hasn't been taken yet that I had on my list? And I realized
it almost felt like Ben Simmons to me, where it was like it's just a little too like it's Rudy Gobert, you know. I know.
But
learn
here's
one
the
fucking post move.
But you know? Here's the thing, like I was getting an ungodly amount of shit as recently as like 3 months ago for like making like the Marcus Smart thing. Like took the Gobert shit to another level. Like people forgot that, and then the Celtics ended up being better. Like all this stuff has happened, and everything's kind of settled back in. But like we don't really need to go into this one. But like Rudy Gobert is still extremely overrated, like in terms of impact. So
I will say I've been saying for a while, everyone always gave Rudy all the credit for propping up the defense in Utah, but the reason why they had to gab so many offensive players was because Rudy is a zero on offense. And if that is the case, then you have to put all offensive players around him. You have to shoot a ton of threes, and they're learning in Minnesota. He does not fit very well with a lot of players on offense, and that messes everything up. So that's where I'll leave it with Rudy. Sam, I don't know where you got that number from. I'm only at pick 20, yeah. So we technically have 10 more players, but I'm just going to run through my picks here.
Sure.
Because I'm going to go with my next pick. I could go with some young guys that I've picked on before, but I'm going to go with a current Sixer actually again, and I'm going to go with PJ Tucker, who is, and I'm doing this more so for the media more than anything else because I haven't drafted any role players yet. So I need to go with the role player. I think that PJ, what he brings to the table is overrated. I think defensively, he's not even quite the same that he was a few years ago. I think the setting screens is fine, but how many teams is that really useful on? I think he just had an outlier great year with the Heat. I think the year before that, he was a bit underwhelming. I think he's been okay with the Sixers, but not anything special. Yeah, I've just always thought PJ Tucker was overrated, and I need to kind of throw him in there as a media darling who is always getting praised by, you know, the podcast, the NBA podcasts of the world. So I'll go PJ Tucker there, and then I'll go with should I go really spicy? Should I go let's go with there are obvious ones. Like I have D'Lo on here. I have guys who were like kind of obvious picks, LeVert, whatever. But I'm gonna go with oh my God. Am I going to get killed for this? Yeah, I will. So I'll go with the other guy. I'm going to go with DeJounte Murray, who I've always found to be a little bit overrated. Okay. I think that he was a bit of I think his numbers were inflated last year with San Antonio. I don't think he's that guy. I think that the fit with Trey, we'll see how it works. I'm not a big believer in it come playoff time. I don't believe in DeJounte. I'm
young Sheldon Russell Westbrook.
Sheldon Russell Westbrook. God damn it.
All right, I'll go DeJounte there. All right, let's go. Now we are back to Sam again.
Okay, easy one. I forgot. I found another juicy one on my list. How about let's talk about Chris Paul for a second, folks.
Chris Paul
swiped him from me.
47.9 true shooting percentage early on in this year.
Really?
Yep. This is the end of him. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Chris Paul. You're gone. You're gone. He's out of here. 16% usage for the point guard.
I'm happy for him, though.
Yeah.
Because he did finally get to prove to himself that he will never win an NBA Finals, even if he was healthy. He still can't pull it off. He still doesn't have the juice for it. So at least we got that excuse out of the way for him last year.
No, he's still a pretty good player, but I just don't think. I
mean,
think
his
the father
numbers,
time shit is close.
I was gonna say close. He's shooting 35% from the field to start the year.
Yeah,
he's shooting. He's got the Ricky Rubio triple single, not even.
Yeah, he's tough. It's tough out there for Chris Paul. I think it might be over. I think that's got to bounce back a little bit. I think he'll find some ways to pad some stats and everything like that. But I think the sheen is off. I think the days of Chris Paul being the beautiful chauffeur driving that wonderful Suns bus is over. I think Devin Booker is going to start getting some credit now. Like people are going to start catching up on what's going on there.
Okay. So Chris Paul's 23. Parm, you got 24 and 25.
Okay, so one of these is ESPN overrating a player that I don't think any other person who watches basketball would ever overrate.
Okay.
That's Nikola Vucevic.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
Just been a Mendoza line center for years and is not good. And you watch him play and you're like, this is a mystery to me. Why is this guy considered a good basketball player?
Okay, so you had Vooch at 24. Who's your 25th pick?
The 25th one is a little spicy. I'm going to say Anthony Simons.
Ooh, okay.
I like that. That's a little spicy.
Yeah, reason being because everyone is getting themselves excited for the Portland Trail Blazers running a point guard and shooting guard who are both 6'1" again. Why are we doing this to ourselves? It's not going to work. It didn't work with CJ. It's not going to work with Anthony Simons. It's the same fucking team. They're trying it again. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think that their team is definitely better now, but I don't think that. I mean, look, Dame's already injured. Maybe if Dame continues after that was really funny that Bill Simmons was like, I just don't see it with Dame anymore, and then he immediately averaged 35 points a game for the next 4 games. That was great. But yeah, Anthony Simons, look, he's always going to be a disaster on defense. I think his offense is really good.
Yep.
I think that I if anything, I probably would have went the other way with him because I feel like a lot of people don't think he's good. I was the only one that said that contract was good on the stream when it was announced. I'm more of an Anthony Simons believer, but it's always going to be tough when you're undersized guard that can't play defense when you get
that one's against my my Schindlers and Jackson Franks of the world who who put the highlight clips on my timeline, and I'm like, this team's not going to win. They're going to be bounced out of the first round again. Yeah,
it's true. But they're a fun, young, upstart team, and those are the teams that get a lot of attention.
I don't want to watch fun. I watch the Sacramento Kings play basketball, and the Sixers. So, I'm not interested in fun or entertaining.
I want to be at the end of my rope when I turn off this game. That's why my favorite Celtics team was that COVID Tristan Thompson years when they were just absolutely unwatchable. It was physically painful to fucking watch them play basketball. Jason Tatum, I thought Jason Tatum was going to leave without even signing an extension.
Woo! All right, Sam, 26 pick. We only have a few left here.
Oh, all right. So we got to push through here. I don't know if I want to do this though. Once it's out there, I can't take it back. It's sad, and I don't.
Do it.
No, I don't want to.
Do it. Is it Tyrese Maxey? I was like, it's either going to be Tyrese Maxey or Jaylen Brown. Was my thought here because you were saying that we would hate it.
I really don't like that because a lot of people I disagree with a lot. I also subscribe to this school of thought, and I think they go way overboard with it. Jaylen's a very good player. I think he does have the. There's a cringe nickname that some Celtics fans have come up with for the Jays of Fire and Ice, but that is in some ways good because Jason Tatum is just like Terminator with no feelings, and I think Jaylen does really have unless it's refs. The only Jason Tatum is a Terminator in that when his targeting system sees a referee, he is ready to destroy them. The only people he ever gets mad at. But anyway, but Jaylen does give the Celtics some cojones. He gives them some oomph. I think there's real stuff there that cannot be quantified. I think the same thing could be said for Marcus Smart. That said, he is the Celtics weak link defensively. The dribbling is a liability. and I think he does sort of clear a little bit on what Jason Tatum does sometimes. That's all I really have to say about that. That really
I'm surprised by that because I didn't choose Jalen because I think he has too many naysayers in the nerd community, the analytics community. I've always argued that his best use is, or his best moments are in the playoffs, which
yes, exactly.
If that is the case, then I have a hard time saying you're overrated when you're stepping up at the biggest point of the year. Like, I used to say Jimmy Butler was a little bit overrated, but now I feel like I have to pull that back because he's been so good in the playoffs. And now I think that Jalen is probably closer to properly rated, but I still think there are some flaws in his game that can be exposed in certain matchups.
I think there is. I just think that if we're talking about broad NBA public, his star power juice just probably has him a little bit high. It's not much, but I just don't have.
The casual fan thinks that Jalen Brown is better than Jason Tatum.
Right. And this is, or like at least that they're close. They think that they're like trading off being good.
Yes.
And that's not the case. Jason Tatum's clearly the team's best player. And
he's much better on defense. He's a much better playmaker. It's just
it's just way better. So and I want to be clear, like I'm also kind of saying this because I'm running out of picks, and I really didn't want to do it's not by
Sam hates Jalen Brown. Please get this on the record. Sam Jalen Brown hater. All right.
God, I wanted to do this to Jason Tatum, but he actually started the year. If this was any other year, I'd be saying Jason Tatum right now. But he's actually doing good.
Yeah, he's been crushing. Yeah. He's an MVP candidate, so we can't do that. Okay, so I will go and I will pick my 2 picks in a row. I'm going to go with ones that I think are different. I'm not going to pick the easy ones because I don't want to pick the easy ones. I'm going to go with Fred VanVleet, who Turn kind of talked me into this. Turn talked me into being a little bit of a Fred VanVleet skeptic because the Raptors look pretty fucking good without Fred VanVleet a lot. And I think that Fred VanVleet is overtasked as a creator. I think that Fred VanVleet is overrated as a defender. I think that his shooting is very good and valuable, but that's probably going to be his best role, a 3-and-D guard type on like a championship level team.
I hate to do this to you.
Yes.
I hate to do a slippery slope argument, but the moment that you say the Raptors look better without Fred VanVleet is we've made point guards extinct. Point guards are extinct. Every player is now Delano.
That is true.
2044, that is true. Every player is going to be a 6'7" wing who can do
a league of Ben Simmons, basically, is what you're saying.
The whole league's going to be Scotty Barnes because you said that.
I don't disagree. But I also don't think Fred VanVleet is a point guard. I think he's a shooting guard in a point guard's body. So that's kind of where we differentiate a little bit there. But all right, so we're going to go Fred VanVleet here at 27. And then at 28, I'm going to go with I had another spicy one, but I'm going to throw it out there, but I'm not going to pick it, because he's an overrated by certain guys, underrated by other guys, and that's Drew Holiday, who I think shits his pants a lot and doesn't get called out for it. But as the third guy, he's very good, and he's still one of the best defenders in the NBA and is very good and impactful. So I'll go with Michael Porter Jr. here. I know we didn't. I just think I'm just not a Michael Porter Jr. guy. I don't care how good he's shooting from 3 right now. Not a believer. Sorry, the injuries, the back, the politics, the defense. I'm just not a guy like guys that you would have thought we picked on here. I kind of probably could have picked instead, like D'Lo or LeVert, but I just don't even think that those guys are thought of as that great in the same way. So, all right, so 29 and 30, and then we're done.
So this is the end. Oh shit.
Yes.
Oh, all right. Well, I mismanaged it too because I was going to say I thought I had 3 more picks. So shoot. No, I have to get my other one off. Honorable mention, RJ Barrett.
I had him as an honorable mention too, but I think people are coming around.
I wanted to replace. That was my thing because he's clearly cheeks, but people are catching on. So
exactly.
It doesn't.
I had him, but yeah.
I would have had him. Now you made me embarrass myself on the Jalen Brown thing in front of everyone when I could have got away with putting RJ.
How dare you?
Now my final spicy one, the beautiful one. I have 0 statistical evidence for this. This is vibes only. This is what hating is all about, folks. We come here for this one. That's right. It's Ja Morant, the fraud king himself, the absolute Loser. 30 points a game. His team is 5-3. They're off to a tremendous start. Dog shit. Doesn't mean anything. They will fold like a deck of cards. They will not win a playoff series this year. Ja Morant is not a good player. He doesn't drive winning. This is more about them having weird little depth guys, weird little sicko, their little cosplay convention they have for Twitter nerds who want to be able to do whatever. Ja Morant's good right now. Yeah, he was all NBA last year. Are you going to let something like that fool you? No, be smarter. Think about it. Be a genius like me. Ja Morant is bad. He's not good. He's the most overrated player in the league. Everyone will catch on to me. He is well, at least Jamal Crawford could shoot. That's all I'll say.
Okay. I have to take the L. I said Ja Morant was overrated, and now I think he's been pretty amazing to watch so far this year, at least. We'll see with him. I think he's
an aesthetic. This is an aesthetic cuck argument.
He's
also a stat cuck argument. You're doing both.
Aesthetic, stats, all the things.
I'm not backing down. You're a coward. You're a coward for coming off of this. I'll die on this hill, John.
He's incredible, dude. I have underrated him as a passer and a playmaker, and my Trae Young is better than Ja Morant take is going to age like milk. So anyway.
The Kings are beating the Grizzlies in the plan. I'm not coming off it. I will not be. All
right, Parm. Last pick.
All right, my last pick is the flavor of Matisse Thybulle that is technically acceptable in the NBA. Herb Jones.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why this particular flavor of Matisse Thybulle is allowed, and ours isn't. But like, it's the same shit.
All right,
it's flirting versus harassment. It's the same player.
So devil's advocate. So the flavor difference is shooting, right? That's the flavor difference.
Can Herb shoot? I still haven't figured that out. Can he shoot? He shot what?
Didn't he? He was like 37% last year.
No.
He's currently 16.7% from three.
He shot 30. Wow. He shot
33% last
on
year.
On two attempts per game as a starter.
Okay,
that's what I think is like. Can Herb shoot? Can Herb shoot? Like, because if he can't,
I was tricked.
Yeah,
this is Parm is educating me.
Field goal percentage 37%.
Yeah. I thought I had in my head that Herb was a 37% shooter.
Here's the thing. I bought the whole
started
thing
off the year
line
hot.
And sinker. I took him with a very high pick in my fantasy draft, and he stinks. He's Matisse Thybulle. I could have gotten Matisse for free.
I said on a Pelicans podcast that I went on, I said, I don't trust defensive guys who start off their career hot shooting because of Matisse Thybulle. And that's my concern for Herb Jones. And that's why I like Trey Murphy more than I like Herb Jones. And Trey Murphy is like a legit dead eye shooter. Herb's a very good defender. I'm going to give him time. But yeah, no, I definitely, he's more advanced offensively than Matisse, but like, who isn't? Like, that's kind of what, like, Matisse might be the worst non-big offensive player in the league. So, all right, that's it. We got to end it here. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes. This is the longest podcast we've ever done.
Let's go.